What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3 AG. Chapter 51 Melee. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. A smile appeared on Kang's lips, and just as he was about to take action, a man in a black suit flashed in front of him like lightning. Attack on a lady. UB **********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************Guy. Sanji was about to kick, but was blocked by Baron. He couldn't be more handsome for 3 seconds. Baron taunted arrogantly. Do you still want a hero to save the beauty? Stinky chef. Do you know who I am? Before he finished speaking, Albio quietly appeared behind him, waved the iron rod in his hand, and hit him on the back of the head without hesitation. The iron rod pressed Baloo's neck forward and hit his shield, causing his nose to bleed. There was a hint of joking in Albio's voice. Oh, young man, you are quite strong. I saw Iron King Balon's face full of astonishment at this moment. Looking at the blood flowing in his hands, his body trembled uncontrollably and exclaimed. I'm actually bleeding. My life is threatened. With a muffled sound like a metal collision, Baron's whole body suddenly burst into blazing fire. For some unknown reason, this Iron D's body will catch fire whenever he bleeds. This physical condition is still an unsolved mystery in the pirate circle. Kang lifted his fat body and quickly jumped out of the flames in 3 or 2 steps. However, the minions who followed were not so lucky and jumped into the water to put out the flames. Teammates offer sacrifices to the sky, and their magic power is boundless. Suddenly, Ah Jin, who was holding Zapu hostage, burst into an angry roar. Stop it. Don't you hear me? With the roar, the stick in his hand hit Zapu hard twice, causing the old man to fall to the ground. Then, Ah Jin took out his musket, pointed the black muzzle directly at Zapu's forehead, and ruthlessly pushed the bullet into the chamber. With a click, the atmosphere became extremely tense. He swept the crowd with his cold eyes and said in a cold voice, You all get off this boat, otherwise, I will make his head explode. Sanji was shocked when he saw this scene. What is this? Ah Jin, if you dare, point your gun at me. Sanji shouted angrily, which made Ah Jin tremble. At this time, Kang said, Ouch, no more fighting, no more fighting, what fun is there in fighting and killing? Little brother Sanji, do you want the slave family to help you? Hearing this, Sanji shivered again and did not dare to look at the direction from which the sound came. Ah Jin looked at Kang. The pressure brought by a monster of this size was extremely terrifying. Suddenly his heart tightened. These eyes. Kang's Sharingan spun around and used Sharingan to activate a basic genjutsu, magical Naraku no Jutsu. Have a sweet dream. This ninjutsu can let the opponent see what they fear most, the pure spirit genjutsu. He wanted to see how many seconds a kin could be affected. People in the pirate world seemed to have very weak willpower, but sometimes they were abnormal with strong mental power. Ordinary genjutsu seems to have little effect on masters. This is commonly known as the disparity in strength is too great to control. But what if it's Tsukiyomi? Ugly woman, go to hell. Ogwe Kezi seized the opportunity, jumped up and punched Kang. Kang's figure turned into a shadow in an instant, and the next moment he quietly appeared at the door of the restaurant, holding Mr. Zapu firmly in his arms. Mr. Zapu, don't touch me. People will be shy. When Zapu saw Albira with a pockmarked face, he immediately vomited. Lousy is not Patty's taste. Sanji breathed a sigh of relief after seeing Zapu rescued. However, is this really appropriate for an old man? Balon, the Iron D, looked at all this with dumbfounded eyes, his face full of shock. Who are you? Aren't you fat? How can you be so flexible? Balon felt that Kang's body of fat should not be lighter than his own armor. This shows that this woman's strength cannot be underestimated. So he was just teasing us. Thinking of this, Baron had the urge to run away. Suddenly his pupils shrank and he froze in place, feeling severe pain all over his body and unable to move. I am Arita, the most beautiful woman on the sea. Since you don't know me, I'll give you a ride. Kang took advantage of the B**** D being accused, made a spinning swing, and shouted softly. The secret of Yibangliu, 1,000 worlds. As Kang shouted, his wrist was wrapped in blue chakra. Kang, with his fat body, jumped up with an unreasonable rhythm, and kept hitting Balon with the iron rod in his hand. Bang bang bang, all fight, fight, fight. His strength this time was really huge. Because he attached chakra to his arm, he created enough terrifying power. Recently, the use of Fishman karate is being developed, so if you practice this method of exerting force, you can break rocks with your bare hands, which is perfect for bullying the soldiers. As Kang struck, Balon's head continued to twist. This was the result of not wearing a helmet, which was a loss for his handsome face. Boom. Baron fell to the ground. There was a big cloud of smoke and dust. At this time, in Baratie, Zoro sat up in shock while dying of illness. Don't stop me. I'm going to chop him to death. Hack him to death. This is simply an insult. No, Zoro. The wound will open. Nami and Usopp tried their best to suppress the injured Zoro. The B********D was defeated, but the flames were still burning. Help people to the end. Water-style water turbulence. Shi Kong pulled a large amount of seawater and activated the basic water-style ninjutsu. A tide washed over Baratie, and the flames were extinguished. After finishing everything, Shi Kong looked at the pirates with a smirk on his face. Tell me, who is the most beautiful woman in this sea? You, don't come here. The pirates kept retreating in fear. At this time, Ajin broke free from genjutsu and looked at Shi Kong with a solemn expression. He just experienced a dream, and he saw Krieg killing everyone, including himself and his companions, as well as his benefactor Sanji. This scene was deeply engraved in his mind, and he no longer had the will to fight. Are you Alita? Do your powers come from devil fruits? Ah Jin asked doubtfully, recalling a female pirate in the East China Sea, but he had never heard that she had such strange abilities. Guess, little brother. Shi Kong was still horribly coquettish. Sanji closed his eyes tightly, not daring to look at the fierce and charming Shi Kong in front of him. He lit a cigarette and couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Alita, what an elegant name, why is the reality like this? Oh, God is so jealous of the beauty. When Shi Kong heard this, he immediately scolded Sanji, what are you talking about with curly eyebrows? If you say that to a girl, do you have the spirit of chivalry? Sanji was speechless. Afterwards, Shi Kong casually threw out several reward orders to Ah Jin and warned him bluntly. If you are wise, take your idiot captain away. Otherwise, I'm afraid that the golden holy clothes will be stripped off by others. I'm not kidding. There is a money maniac on our ship, and no grass will grow wherever he passes. Ah Jin held the reward notices in his hands, and the numbers on them shocked him. 20 million, 24 million, 25 million. These numbers made Ah Jin dumbfounded. 3 of them had bounties exceeding 20 million. You know, their captain Krieg only had 17 million Baileys. Has the most powerful pirate group in the East China Sea changed hands? Chapter 52 Krieg's defeat, the stubborn Sanji. Ah Jinjung was shocked by the bounty from Shi Kong and others. At this time, there was a loud bang, and Luffy was thrown over by Krieg. The atmosphere became a little awkward for a moment. Luffy dusted himself off, stood up and muttered dissatisfiedly. Really, this guy is so skilled and ruthless that it would be really troublesome to fight him. Shi Kong looked at Ah Jin and pointed his finger, and whispered, actually, bounty sometimes does not necessarily represent the strength of combat power. At this time, Krieg's anxious and impatient voice came. What are you dawdling about? A bunch of rubbish. Can't even deal with these little brats. Krieg was very angry. Luffy, the little guy from Immune to Death, was already very irritating, and Jin seemed to be still playing house. Forget it. A bunch of trash. I'll deal with you together. A small hole suddenly appeared on Krieg's shield, from which a burst of purple poisonous mist shot out. It's MH5 poisonous gas that kills anyone on contact. Boss, we are still here. Give me the gas mask. Minions kept shouting, but Krieg ignored him. What is this guy doing? That's a comrade. Luffy's anger rose when he saw this scene. He turned to Shi Kong and said seriously, hey, Shi Kong, can you deal with this smoke? I'm going to beat him away. Luffy pointed at Krieg with a determined look. Sanji on the side was confused. Isn't this fat woman called Arita? Why did she call him Shi Kong again? Shi Kong nodded and formed seals in his hands at high speed. Hold on, Luffy. Wind escape great breakthrough. Whoosh, whoosh. A violent air current swept across, and a strong wind faced the purple poisonous gas. This is the ability to create wind. It's incredible. Is this the sea? Sanji chewed on his cigarette with a shocked expression. Shi Kong completed the clearing with a great breakthrough, but Ah Jin was close enough to hear Chi Kang's warning and was not blown away. Okay, Sanji, I'm a little hungry. Prepare the food. Luffy's side will be over soon. After experiencing Eren first, a guy like Krieg who relies purely on tools is just a toy in Luffy's eyes. Sanji and Ajin are still a little confused. Is it over? At this time, a roar came from the air. What do you think your partner is? With a boom, Krieg rolled his eyes and flew over, landing with a crash. Shi Kong spread his hands and said, sorry, miscalculation, it's over. The game was over. Shi Kong turned around and walked towards Baratie. Ajin was trembling all over. He always thought that Krieg was the most powerful man in the East China Sea. When he watched the powerful captain being easily defeated by the serious Straw Hat, he realized that Chi Kang's words were not a joke. Krieg was still breathing at this time. There might be something wrong with his brain. He stood up tremblingly and kept shouting. I'm Admiral Krieg. How could I lose to you, a brat? I'm going to kill you. Akin slowly walked up to the unconscious Krieg and knocked out the captain with one punch. Chief Krieg, we have lost. Retreat quickly and start over again. Akin carried Krieg on his back, turned to Sanji and said. Goodbye Mr. Sanji, I'm really sorry for what happened. Goodbye Grand Line. Sanji smiled and gave the purchasing ship to Ajin without saying anything else, even though he had threatened the old man. Akin left Baratie with a boat full of unconscious pirates. A big battle ended in a funny way. The Straw Hat Boy only needed to make a small move, and they were completely defeated. When Sanji was about to enter the house, a bald man appeared from the water carrying Luffy on his back. It turned out that Luffy just fell into the water. Shi Kong lazily moved on his own and summoned a water clone. Shui Shui turned around and said hello to Sanji. Hi, Sanji. I'm Cool D. Kai Kong, is the food ready? Sanji's face was full of questions. Who and whom are these? Who is Chi Kong? At this time, he was completely stunned. What shocked Sanji even more was that after the bald man threw Luffy into the house, he turned into a pool of water and disappeared. Shall I strangle you, you water ghost? No, I must be dreaming. Everything today is false. The little clever Sanji suddenly kicked himself and fainted to the ground. The war is over and the banquet begins. Have you seen the beautiful Miss Arita? At this time, Patty was holding a bouquet of flowers, constantly searching for Chi Kang's figure. Chi Kong trembled when he heard this. If some idiot is using my move name, I'm going to tell Patty the truth. Zoro saw that Chi Kong was so exhausted that he even drank a few more glasses of wine. It's delicious. It's delicious. Can I eat such delicious food every day from now on? Luffy kept stuffing food with a happy face. When Sanji woke up, everyone was already mingling in laughter. Nami was shaking hands with Zapu in a friendly way, discussing the deal of sentencing in modern times. Nami said with a smile on his face. Then it's agreed, 3.87 million Baileys plus Sanji, all other fees are waived, and this fish will be yours. Zapu's old face was full of smiles and he said, in the final analysis, we have made a profit, 1 Sanji and 1 Luffy. If there are these 2 cancers, Baratie will be disabled in a few days. The two exchanged business boasts, and Sanji looked confused. What does it mean? Get on board. What kind of beheading business are you talking about? Although Sanji knew Zapu planned to throw him out a few days ago, he didn't want to get out at all. He had not finished his kindness to the old man. Sanji lit a cigarette and tossed his hair coolly. Hey, stinky old man, what are you talking about? Zapu didn't shy away from it and said it directly. You were sold by me. You can go to sea with them in the future. The value you generate is not as good as a fish. You are pure waste. Sanji's face turned terribly dark, but he still turned his head and said stubbornly, don't think about it, old man, I won't leave. After saying that, Sanji walked towards the kitchen, leaving behind a silhouette. Zapu packed his luggage and threw it away to Luffy. Bring this garbage to him, and we will fill it with other supplies for you as compensation for taking him away. The rest will be left to you. In Zapu's words, he devalued Sanji as worthless, as if he would earn money by sending him away. Luffy grinned. Don't worry. Even if we knock him out, we will take him away. The human trafficker Luffy is so terrifying. Usopp couldn't help complaining. Why is this guy so stubborn? Why on earth? I obviously think he is eager to go to sea. At this time, Patty, who was holding the flowers, shed tears and began to tell the story of Sanji and Zapu. After some twists and turns, Chi Kong finally knew the information he already knew. Zapu was once a pirate, and Sanji was a trainee cook on a merchant ship. The two have nothing in common. The only thing they have in common is that they have the same dream. All Blue. All Blue is a mysterious sea area with all the marine ingredients from all over the world. It is the dream place of all sea chefs. Zapu saw his younger self in Sanji. After Sanji fell into the sea, Zapu risked his life to save him, and finally gave food to Sanji. Zapu gnawed one of his legs out of hunger. I think comics are more reasonable. The nickname of the pirate Zepp is Red-Footed Zepp. You can imagine what a foot means to him. Therefore, Sanji had to choose to stay with Zapu. Even if there was a chance to touch his dream, he had to choose to give up. Chapter 53 Sanji gets on the boat and gives Sanji a gift. Baratie's deck. Sanji was smoking a cigarette and looking at the sea in a daze. At this time, a burst of footsteps came. Sanji raised his head and his eyes turned dull. Miss Nami, this V-neck swimsuit is so beautiful. Nami looked shy and inadvertently exposed her breasts. Brother Sanji, do you really not consider going to the sea with us? Go. Wherever Miss Nami is, I will be there. Sanji turned into a pig brother and spoke without thinking at all. Suddenly, Sanji's mind came back to him. He took a puff of cigarette and said seriously. You should have heard about me. I will stay with the old man for the rest of his life. This disabled old man can't even beat a weakling now. He can't lose me. The speed with which Sanji changed his face really shocked someone for a whole year. Nami chuckled and said softly, Brother Sanji, in that case, don't you want to heal Mr. Zapu's leg? After hearing this, Sanji was stunned, holding Nami's shoulders and shaking him. What did you say? Miss Nami, heal the old man's leg. Nami didn't pay attention to Sanji's rough movements and nodded heavily. There are various secret treasures on the Grand Line. Many people think it is very simple for the old man to have a leg again. After Sanji heard this fantasy, he instinctively didn't believe it. Suddenly he thought of something. Devil fruit. Sanji began to recall the fruit illustrations he had read when he was a child, but many of his memories were blurred. He only remembered that there was a fruit in the fruit illustrated book that could make him invisible after eating it. As far as I know, a pirate group with a white bear has this ability. If you don't believe it, I can swear it. As he said that, Nami patted his chest, and a wave surged. As for why it was turbulent, it was because someone specifically turned it up. Sanji stared blankly, his mind going blank. Nami crossed his arms and continued to talk about the secrets of the sea that he knew, ready to add fuel to the fire. She began to talk about various beauties, such as the exotic beauty of Alabasta, the mermaids of Fishman Island, the Nine-Snake Island where all women were, the orc cat-eared girl, etc. Listening to what Nami said, Sanji lit a cigarette, suppressed his restless heart, and said deeply. For the sake of old man Zapu's legs, I think it's time to go to sea. Nami immediately hugged Sanji's head and said excitedly. That's great Sanji, we'll be happy to have you here. PFF'd. Sanji, who was a pervert by profession and a part-time chef, kept spurting blood and fainted to the ground in happiness. Baratie. Kang suddenly came in from outside the door, took out a pack of cigarettes, took out one and lit it lightly. He said calmly. I only need to make a small move, which is already the limit of this rank. Then, he made a done gesture to everyone. Everyone cheered instantly, and even Zoro smiled crookedly. But Nami stretched out her hand at an inappropriate time. Kang understood. He dug into his pocket and took out 100,000 Baileys with great sadness. No, you have to measure the figure of a beautiful woman, and you have to spend money to use Nami's body. If you think so, Alita is better. Time of separation. Old man, Sanji and Zapu looked at each other. Suddenly Zapu moved. All fight. Get out of here. Sanji was kicked away. Zapu crossed his arms and said coldly. Remember, I am the head chef of this restaurant. Sanji stood up and said harsh words. Zapu, you will regret it. After saying that, the two passed side by side. After setting sail, Kang called everyone to a meeting. To celebrate Sanji's arrival on the ship, I will teach you an awesome skill today. Sanji pointed at himself, a little flattered. Others looked curious and wanted to see what it was. Look, this is Marine 6 style shave. Kang disappeared from the deck in an instant, and when he reappeared, he had arrived in front of the orange grove. The principle is to step on the ground dozens of times at high speed in an instant to produce an explosive reaction force to move at high speed and achieve the effect of the teleportation technique. This is Kang's taijutsu through Sharingan copy smoker. So handsome. What a ninja skill. Luffy looked excited. How is this possible? ×2, Nami and Usopp covered their faces. Do you need enough leg skills? It's difficult. It's really suitable for sexy cooks. Zoro tried it and found that his leg muscles and coordination were not able to do it for the time being. Sanji also looked at his feet, looking thoughtful. There is a chance that he can learn it quickly, but he still needs to practice for a few months. Anyway, thank you, bald man. Sailed for a few more days. Sanji, my meat is not ready yet. Luffy sat on the special seat holding down his straw hat and shouted towards the second floor. It's almost time. It's not time to eat yet. How much do you need to eat in a day? When Sanji first boarded the ship, he couldn't bear to see Luffy hungry, so he cooked diligently every time. He didn't know that Luffy had a special body, and most of the time he was just greedy. Sanji, is my afternoon tea ready? Nami's voice came slowly. At this time, Nami was nestled next to her canteen, basking in the sun leisurely. She named her tuck shop, Cocoa West Oranges. The counter behind her was full of drinks, and the ice cream on the freezer said 1,000 Baileys, oranges 600 Baileys, special promotion. In addition, sword oil, detonating charms, kunai and shurikens are all clearly marked with prices. Don't ask where this thing came from, these are all the tears of my friends. Since Nami's canteen opened, everyone knows the importance of Bailey. However, after Sanji came, in addition to the good sales of drinks and some snacks, she lost a lot of money and was happy and free. Recently, Nami is thinking about letting Sanji work for her, thinking about it and preparing to start with afternoon tea and the like. Sanji heard the beauty's call and made a 360 degrees Thomas turn, twisting his body to Nami's side. Here you go, Miss Nami. Sanji placed the carefully prepared desserts and juices next to Nami, and his eyes turned into the shape of hearts. Ms. Nami, when will you let me put on sunscreen for you? My technique is super good. Nami's face darkened, and she looked at the fisherman in the fishing hut with a very unkind look. What on earth did this guy do that day? Kang seemed to feel something and trembled. Nami said softly. Thank you Mr. Sanji, I also need a piece of sashimi sushi. I'm sorry to trouble you, hee. Okay, Miss Nami, just leave it to me. I just saw a fish that is perfect for filleting. Sanji left after a small whirlwind. When passing by Luffy, he turned into fangs and said, Luffy, take your meat. Get out of here, I'm very busy. Thank you Sanji, it's great to have a chef. Luffy said as he swallowed the meat in one bite. At this time, a flying kick came. Enjoy the food, UB************D. Sanji cursed and returned to the kitchen. A fisherman will never fly in the Air Force. Dumb. The Murkrow actually screamed. This momentarily caught the attention of Nami, Luffy, and Usopp. They all put down what they were doing and came together. This is a luminous fish. It looks like a deep-sea fish at first glance, and its whole body exudes a sapphire-like halo. It is very extraordinary at first glance. However, Nami lost interest after just one glance. If she doesn't recognize it, it means it's worthless. This is a fish I've never seen before. Usopp and Luffy didn't even know each other. Kang breathed a sigh of relief after seeing Nami leave. This time I added 0.8 inches force to appointments, which is not simple at first glance. Plus, he is so beautiful, and he needs to be raised. You can call it Sapphire from now on. Add Xiao Wen, and you have 2 collections. At this moment, Sanji came over with a plate of sashimi in his hand. Kang found the chef Sanji with a fish bucket and showed off his trophies. You've come just in time, Sanji. Except for this fish, you can see if you can eat the rest. If not, throw them away. I want to raise this blue fish. Sanji looked shocked when he saw the sapphire-like sea fish. He almost dropped the large plate of raw fish sushi to the ground. Is this sapphire lantern fish? How is it possible? Chapter 54 Beginning and Ending, Rog Town. Kang saw the shocked expression on Sanji's face and looked puzzled. Sanji, are you exaggerating? Do you know him? Sanji gently placed the sushi in front of Nami, lit a cigarette, and began to reminisce. I saw this kind of fish in a fish tank there when I was a child. It is said to be a rare deep-sea fish species only found in North Blue. It is loved by nobles for its gorgeous sapphire appearance. But we are now in the East China Sea, which is really surprising. Puzzling. Luffy. East China Sea. Usopp. North Blue's fish. Nami. Nobles like it. Kang. Deep-sea fish. Zoro. Should I say something? Everyone has their own focused questions. Kang's question is why he can catch deep-sea fish. Is his fishing rod so awesome? Luffy had no idea that the Grand Line and the Red Continent divided the world into 4 oceans. So everyone began to express their opinions around this fish, and also made some mistakes in world geography. The topic naturally started an in-depth discussion around Usopp's question, why North Blue fish can be caught in the East Sea. Finally, Kang proposed the most likely answer: their location is close to the Grand Line, so biological species from other sea areas may appear. Perhaps the legendary All Blue really exists, Sanji. Kang said. Sanji took a deep breath of his cigarette, but he didn't expect that he would become more determined in his dream as soon as he embarked on the journey. While Luffy was chewing sushi, he said innocently, dreams definitely exist. Sanji kicked a flying kick and cursed. Idiot Luffy. This is love sushi specially made for Miss Nami. Take advantage of Luffy to draw firepower. Kang and Usopp saw the right opportunity, and quickly took away a few pieces of sushi under Nami's contemptuous eyes, with evil smiles on their faces. However, the moment he got the sushi, Kang noticed something was wrong. The cut pattern on this fish fillet is so similar to the golden texture on a small tattoo. Could it be? Xiao Wen, is this impossible? Kang suddenly realized what he had overlooked and quickly asked Sanji. Sanji, which fish is this sushi made from? Sanji had a cigarette in his mouth and wondered Kaido. It's the golden striped catfish in the kitchen fish tank. This high-end ingredient is very suitable for making raw fish sushi. Upon hearing this, Kang collapsed to the ground in despair. Xiao Wen, you died so miserably. Sanji looked at Kang and was stunned for a moment, and stopped beating Luffy, so embarrassed that he broke into a cold sweat. At this time, Zoro jumped down and picked up the sushi. What an idiot fishing guy. I've wanted to try that fish for a long time. Just right. Zoro took a sip of sushi, a sip of wine, and groaned with enjoyment. Well done, Kappa, this sapphire fish is also sliced. No, Nami and Kang said in unison. Kang looked at Nami. Nami explained. Ahem, I'm just protecting your trophies. So, adhering to the principle of not wasting food, Kang held back his tears and swallowed this piece of sushi that carried sadness and memories, because he couldn't just let these dogs eat. This tastes. Rogue Town. As this Rogue Town. Luffy on the Mary screamed excitedly from the special seat. The famous trading town in the East China Sea looks bustling and vibrant under the sunshine. It's really lively. It is indeed the first hub in the East China Sea. Wow, what kind of fruit is on this boat? It looks delicious. Look at that man's clothes. He's dressed very strangely. He doesn't belong to Donghai at first glance. The idiots on the boat exclaimed one after another, as if Grandma Lu had entered the Grand View Garden. I have enough curiosity about this prosperous town full of legends in front of me. At this time, a fierce man shouted dissatisfiedly at everyone on Melee. Hey, pirate, park the boat behind. Aren't you afraid of death for being so upright? Marine will be here soon, and there will be no business left. When Nami heard this, she almost forgot that she was a pirate and could not go to the port openly. As the Minister of Finance, she immediately gathered everyone and began to assign tasks. This is public funds, 600,000 belly per person, of which 100,000 is pocket money. Everyone took the money and looked happy. Nami was particularly beautiful today. Nami clapped her hands and said, after replenishing here, we should be about to enter the Grand Line, so this is everyone's last entertainment, so everyone purchases the supplies they need separately. I went to buy the daily necessities necessary for the voyage, and by the way I bought a recording pointer that Kang said. Usopp buys ship repair materials. You can look at Sanji's kitchen and prepare the ingredients and seasonings by yourself. Zoro, just don't get lost. Kang has the most important task. He is responsible for finding a place to park the ship and protecting the Mary. That idiot Luffy will never lower the pirate flag. Luffy is talking about you. Nami hasn't finished speaking yet. Rubber rocket. Haha, I'm coming to Rog Town. Nami's face turned dark instantly, and she tightened her new weapon, the weather stick. She couldn't help but feel her unicorn arms. Because there is a marine stationed here, everyone should return to the ship as soon as possible after purchasing. Do you understand? Nami's voice was cold. Everyone nodded, even the aloof Zoro nodded seriously. Now Nami is just about to awaken conquerors. When the Straw Hats and others disembarked one after another, what they didn't know was how terrifying they were with their current popularity in the East China Sea. In just a short period of time, the news that the new overlords of the East China Sea, the Straw Hat Pirates, had landed on the island spread throughout the town. The Bardo family. A subordinate hurried over to report. Boss, the Straw Hat Pirates have arrived in Rogue Town. When Bartolomeo heard this, his eyes flashed with excitement. Let's go and see for ourselves what the strongest pirate group in the East China Sea is capable of. Marine Base. Dusky hurriedly broke into Colonel Smoker's office and reported. Colonel Smoker, the Straw Hats and their team have arrived in Rogue Town. Smoker was stunned for a moment, then said calmly. The Straw Hat Pirates, your goal is indeed the Grand Line. After snorting coldly, Smoker issued an order to Dusky, instruct all Marines in the base to quickly locate the Straw Hats and arrest them. One Piece Tavern. Captain Buggy, the Straw Hat Boy is here. A pirate rushed into the One Piece Tavern with a nervous look on his face. When Captain Buggy heard this, the flames of revenge flashed in his eyes. Straw Hat Boy, the moment of revenge I have been waiting for has finally arrived. I want to see if you are One Piece. Ha ha ha. After Buggy smiled meaningfully, he ordered, young men, search for the Straw Hats. After saying that, Buggy turned his attention to the beauty drinking next to him. Let's go. Our cooperation has begun. The Straw Hat Boy belongs to me, and the Crow Boy belongs to you. The woman was holding an iron rod in her hand, with a cruel smile on her lips. Cuckoo D. Shi Kong, let's wait and see. I must settle this account with you. Chapter 54 Beginning and Ending, Rogue Town. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Shi Kong saw the shocked expression on Sanji's face and looked puzzled. Sanji, are you exaggerating? Do you know him? Sanji gently placed the sushi in front of Nami, lit a cigarette, and began to reminisce. I saw this kind of fish in a fish tank there when I was a child. It is said to be a rare deep-sea fish species only found in North Blue. It is loved by nobles for its gorgeous sapphire appearance. But we are now in the East China Sea, which is really surprising. Puzzling. Luffy. East China Sea. Usopp. North Blue's fish. Nami. Nobles like it. Shi Kong. Deep-sea fish. Zoro. Should I say something? Everyone has their own focused questions. Shi Kang's question is why he can catch deep-sea fish. Is his fishing rod so awesome? Luffy had no idea that the Grand Line and the Red Continent divided the world into 4 oceans. So everyone began to express their opinions around this fish, and also made some mistakes in world geography. The topic naturally started an in-depth discussion around Usopp's question, why North Blue fish can be caught in the East Sea. Finally, Shi Kong proposed the most likely answer. Their location is close to the Grand Line, so biological species from other sea areas may appear. Perhaps the legendary All Blue really exists, Sanji. Shi Kong said. Sanji took a deep breath of his cigarette, but he didn't expect that he would become more determined in his dream as soon as he embarked on the journey. While Luffy was chewing sushi, he said innocently, dreams definitely exist. Sanji kicked a flying kick and cursed. Idiot Luffy. This is love sushi specially made for Miss Nami. Take advantage of Luffy to draw firepower. Shi Kong and Usopp saw the right opportunity, and quickly took away a few pieces of sushi under Nami's contemptuous eyes, with evil smiles on their faces. However, the moment he got the sushi, Shi Kong noticed something was wrong. The cut pattern on this fish fillet is so similar to the golden texture on a small tattoo. Could it be? Xiao Wen, is this impossible? Shi Kong suddenly realized what he had overlooked and quickly asked Sanji. Sanji, which fish is this sushi made from? Sanji had a cigarette in his mouth and wondered Kaido. It's the golden striped catfish in the kitchen fish tank. This high-end ingredient is very suitable for making raw fish sushi. Upon hearing this, Shi Kong collapsed to the ground in despair. Xiao Wen, you died so miserably. Sanji looked at Shi Kong and was stunned for a moment, and stopped beating Luffy, so embarrassed that he broke into a cold sweat. At this time, Zoro jumped down and picked up the sushi. What an idiot fishing guy. I've wanted to try that fish for a long time. Just right. Zoro took a sip of sushi, a sip of wine, and groaned with enjoyment. Well done, Kappa, this sapphire fish is also sliced. No, Nami and Shi Kong said in unison. Shi Kong looked at Nami. Nami explained. Ahem, I'm just protecting your trophies. So, adhering to the principle of not wasting food, Shi Kong held back his tears and swallowed this piece of sushi that carried sadness and memories, because he couldn't just let these dogs eat. This tastes. Rogue Town. As this Rogue Town? Luffy on the Mary screamed excitedly from the special seat. The famous trading town in the East China Sea looks bustling and vibrant under the sunshine. It's really lively. It is indeed the first hub in the East China Sea. Wow, what kind of fruit is on this boat? It looks delicious. Look at that man's clothes. He's dressed very strangely. He doesn't belong to Donghai at first glance. The idiots on the boat exclaimed one after another, as if Grandma Lu had entered the Grand View Garden. I have enough curiosity about this prosperous town full of legends in front of me. At this time, a fierce man shouted dissatisfiedly at everyone on Melee. Hey, pirate, park the boat behind. Aren't you afraid of death for being so upright? Marine will be here soon, and there will be no business left. When Nami heard this, she almost forgot that she was a pirate and could not go to the port openly. As the Minister of Finance, she immediately gathered everyone and began to assign tasks. This is public funds, 600,000 belly per person, of which 100,000 is pocket money. Everyone took the money and looked happy. Nami was particularly beautiful today. Nami clapped her hands and said, "After replenishing here, we should be about to enter the Grand Line, so this is everyone's last entertainment, so everyone purchases the supplies they need separately. I went to buy the daily necessities necessary for the voyage, and by the way I bought a recording pointer that Kang said. Usopp buys ship repair materials. You can look at Sanji's kitchen and prepare the ingredients and seasonings by yourself. Zoro just don't get lost. Kang has the most important task. He is responsible for finding a place to park the ship and protecting the Mary. That idiot Luffy will never lower the pirate flag. Luffy is talking about you. Nami hasn't finished speaking yet. Rubber rocket. Haha, I'm coming to Rog Town. Nami's face turned dark instantly, and she tightened her new weapon, the weather stick. She couldn't help but feel her unicorn arms. Because there is a marine stationed here, everyone should return to the ship as soon as possible after purchasing. Do you understand? Nami's voice was cold. Everyone nodded, even the aloof Zoro nodded seriously. Now Nami is just about to awaken conquerors. When the Straw Hats and others disembarked one after another, what they didn't know was how terrifying they were with their current popularity in the East China Sea. In just a short period of time, the news that the new overlords of the East China Sea, the Straw Hat Pirates, had landed on the island spread throughout the town. The Bardo family. A subordinate hurried over to report. "Boss, the Straw Hat Pirates have arrived in Rogue Town." When Bartolomeo heard this, his eyes flashed with excitement. Let's go and see for ourselves what the strongest pirate group in the East China Sea is capable of. Marine Base. Dusky hurriedly broke into Colonel Smoker's office and reported, "Colonel Smoker, the Straw Hats and their team have arrived in Rogue Town." Smoker was stunned for a moment, then said calmly, "The Straw Hat Pirates, your goal is indeed the Grand Line." After snorting coldly, Smoker issued an order to Dusky, "Instruct all Marines in the base to quickly locate the Straw Hats and arrest them." One Piece Tavern. Captain Buggy, the Straw Hat Boy is here. A pirate rushed into the One Piece Tavern with a nervous look on his face. When Captain Buggy heard this, the flames of revenge flashed in his eyes. "Straw Hat Boy, the moment of revenge I have been waiting for has finally arrived. I want to see if you are One Piece. Ha ha ha." After Buggy smiled meaningfully, he ordered, "Young men, search for the Straw Hats." After saying that, Buggy turned his attention to the beauty drinking next to him. "Let's go. Our cooperation has begun. The Straw Hat Boy belongs to me, and the Crow Boy belongs to you." The woman was holding an iron rod in her hand, with a cruel smile on her lips. "Cuckoo D. Kang, let's wait and see. I must settle this account with you." Chapter 55 Battle with an old rival's Pokémon. Located on the edge of the island belonging to Rog Town, it is a wild harbor hidden among thick palms and swaying coconut groves. There are many miscellaneous ships parked here, some even flying pirate flags. As the saying goes, where there is light, there is darkness, and the same is true in Rog Town. This is the dark port established by convention, a place where serious people do not come. Before Marine Mad Dog, Smoker came, Marine usually turned a blind eye to pirates. Darkness and light coexisted here, and merchants were pirates, while Marines and civilians all did business. After this guy came, many people were dissatisfied, and traders complained that business was much worse. Now illegal ships can only dock in this dark little port. This should be secluded enough, right? It's so boring. Should I go for a walk? After the boat stopped, Kang, who was used to the hustle and bustle, was a little at a loss for the sudden silence. Dumb. At this time, the dark crow called twice, seeming to say that it was still there. Kang's eyes lit up. "You said you came to see the ship, right? You're so kind. Dark Crow. Don't worry, I will send a shadow clone to help you. I'll bring you delicious food when I come back." Dumb. In this way, Kang and Merc Crow, a shadow clone heavily invested in chakra, became watchers. Shadow clone. Mom sells batches. Boom. The sky was overcast and it seemed like it was going to rain. At this time, Shadow Clone saw a bald water clone coming and instantly turned into Water Splash, leaving behind a cart full of supplies. The main body really doesn't treat the clone as a human being. Shadow Clone Kang loaded the clothes, furniture and other supplies brought back by the water clone onto the ship, and looked boredly in the direction of Rog Town. There was lightning and thunder in the sky. "Why am I here watching the ship? Why haven't you come back yet? Is there something unexpected? Is the main body going to be fine?" Dumb. Not long after, Shadow Clone Kang saw a familiar figure again, Mochi, the trainer of the Buggy Pirates. He was riding the Lion Licky and was galloping towards Melee, carrying a monocular in his hand. Sure enough, it's the Straw Hat pirate ship. Look at me burning it. Captain Buggy will be happy, right? Just when Mochi was very happy, a familiar voice came. "What do you want to burn?" Mochi and Liji suddenly froze, and they didn't move at all in the non-still picture. Kang jumped down and told Mochi and Liji that all this was not an illusion. "Oh my god, cool D. Kang, didn't you go to Rog Town? Why are you here?" Kang touched his bald head and smiled slightly. "So, do you want to have a Pokémon battle? Or do you want me to beat you up and then fight? It's your choice. Are you ready? Cool D. Kang, Liji and I have not wasted our time during this period," Mochi said disdainfully. Kang responded without any sign of weakness. "Let me meet you. I will definitely win you this time. The decision is yours, Dark Crow." Dumb. Dumb. The dark crow spread its wings and responded, staring intently at the big lion named Li Ji. Mochi decisively ordered. Li Ji, use the shocking stare. Li Ji's eyes turned scarlet, and he issued a soul-penetrating pressure that was approaching the dark crow. Dark crow, release the smoke, and then activate the strange light. Shi Kong commanded calmly, preparing to repeat the same trick. Upon receiving the order, the dark crow immediately spit out thick black mist. Mochi sneered. Do you think I will still succeed with the same trick? Li Ji and I are trying to figure out how to crack your skills every day. He pointed. Li Ji uses high speed to run. Create wind pressure to disperse the smoke, remember not to be hit by the light group. Roar. Accompanied by a deep roar, Li Ji was like an arrow from a string, carrying the wind and electricity and galloping away. Not only did he skillfully avoid the attack of light, but he also swept away the diffuse black fog. This time it was completely effortless. Shi Kong praised. Not bad. Mochi, there is progress. But Dark Crow and I have also grown. After finishing speaking, the corner of his mouth raised a hint of cunning. Dark Crow uses sneak attack. I saw the Dark Crow rushing out from the shadow behind Li Ji like a ghost, and successfully hit the lion with an evil wing attack. Roar. Li Ji whined in pain. Its owner, Mochi, jumped up and down. Damn it. You actually took advantage of Li Ji to avoid the light and hid in the shadows. You are so despicable. Shi Kong chuckled and said, this is called a war that never tires of deceit. Mochi gritted his teeth and commanded the lion. Li Ji takes advantage of the moment and uses his tearing claws to deal with it. This kind of crispy skin can't stop you from clawing. However, Shi Kong reacted quickly and hurriedly directed Dark Crow to use new skills. Dark Crow circled at high speed, evaded, and then used Storm. Li Ji rushed at him quickly, but Dark Crow took the opportunity to roll into the air. While avoiding the attack, he sprayed a strong storm from his mouth and went straight towards Li Ji. Lakey quickly dodged the thick storm. At this time, Mochi discovered something. He. Dark Crow shouldn't be able to move when he uses storm. He suddenly laughed and commanded. Li Ji moves at high speed and uses the beast to get out of the cage. I saw Li Ji move flexibly, and in a few jumps he came to the vicinity of Dark Crow, and then he jumped and pounced. Dark Crow, watch out. Spray him. Hurry. Dark Crow tried his best to adjust the jet trajectory, and the storm instantly suppressed Li Ji, who was trying to pounce on the ground. Damn it. It was just a little bit close. Mochi said regretfully. At this time, Dark Crow was panting. The change of moves just now consumed a lot of energy. On the other hand, the lion Li Ji, with his rough skin and thick flesh, got up again, with only a few scratches on his skin. It is indeed a beast that can easily destroy the iron cage. This physical fitness is too strong. Mochi mocked. Your Dark Crow seems to be dying, Shi Kong. Just admit defeat. Shi Kong tried to ask. Can Dark Crow still fight? Dumb. The Dark Crow responded with a loud and determined cry. Very good. Use the black fog to obscure your vision, and then use the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball. Dark Crow was stunned. The dog owner began to give random orders again. Murkrow exhales smoke again, but it does not use the latter skill, but it does not prevent it from attacking. I told you this move is useless. Licky. They seem to be about to attack. Remember that move. One hit will determine the outcome. This is a skill prepared for you. Ha ha ha. Go to hell. Lakey uses Sonic Roar with all his strength. Roar. An unparalleled sound wave impact went straight through the black mist, rolling up the Dark Crow together with the black mist. The Dark Crow was finally thrown into the woods by the impact. Damn it. You actually lost again. Mochi, you are indeed my lifelong enemy. What a terrible opponent. Seeing this, Mochi stood up and explained proudly, Li Ji and I will not be defeated. This is the advanced skill of roaring, specially reserved for you. Haha, you are so weak. If you want to challenge me, you have to practice for 100 years. Mochi mocked. After hearing this, Shi Kong punched out. An experienced baby still wants to show off, is that really embarrassing for you? Mochi, who was beaten, became honest instantly, while Li Ji on the side looked fawning. Mochi covered his face with a bruised nose and a swollen face, and looked at Shi Kong aggrievedly. If you can't beat me, just have a real person PK, you can't afford to lose. Shi Kong hugged Dark Crow to comfort him for a while, then looked at Mochi and said, tell me, what's going on in Rog Town? I'm bored alone. Chapter 56 Changes in Rog Town. Time goes back to Shi Kong leaving Mei Li. After Shi Kong entered the prosperous Rog Town, he was fascinated by the flowers and saw the dazzling prosperity. He walked along the street as he pleased, stopping and eating along the way. Just as he was wandering around, he unfortunately met Nami in front of a clothing store. At this moment, Nami's face was radiant, and the shop owner behind her had a murderous expression. There was no other reason than that Nami tried on a bunch of gorgeous clothes but didn't take away any of them. Shi Kong, aren't you supposed to be watching the boat? Nami glanced at Shi Kong and said in a bad tone. When Shi Kong saw Nami, he almost choked on the croquettes in his hand. He coughed a few times and explained. My Shadow Clone and Dark Crow are on the ship. If there is any problem, I will know it as soon as possible. Nami thought for a moment and felt that this was not impossible, and smiled. Then go shopping with me. There happens to be a lot of stuff, and it costs money to hire someone to take it. With that said, Nami snatched the croquettes from Shi Kang's hand, took Shi Kang's arm and walked towards another clothing store. Shi Kong didn't want to go shopping with a woman, it would be a kind of torture. I have other things to deal with. That kid Luffy always causes a lot of trouble. Hearing this, Nami turned around, smiled, and said. Are you Luffy's nanny? I'll give you an additional 500,000 loan amount as compensation. Head office, right. Don't think about running away, now just help me get my things honestly. I have many, many things to buy. Nami looks down on him. Freedom is precious. Is he this kind of person? So, Shi Kong accompanied Nami into a clothing store. I have to say, Nami is really good at reading people. As Nami stepped into the store, she first looked at the prices of the clothes, and finally smiled with satisfaction. She bought a lot of daily clothes, not only her own but also those of other crew members. Of course, these clothes will still be hung in the canteen for sale. After all, it is too difficult to deduct money from Nami. With the humanoid shopping cart, Nami began to accept everything that came and spent money like water. He also bought a lot of things that his friends might need, preparing to expand the store's inventory. Nami and Shi Kong pulled the cart and prepared to go back first. At this time, 3 bounty hunters appeared blocking the way. The 3 of them waved their scimitars in a triangle shape and kept approaching Nami, but completely ignored Shi Kong. They thought Shi Kong was a hired boatman. One person took the reward order and compared it carefully. The navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates, the bounty is 5 million, that's right. Nami, the little thief cat. Nami's face turned dark. She didn't expect that besides Marine, someone else was staring at them. Shi Kong, look after the goods. I will deal with these people. She held the Tiano stick in her hand, ready to try the new weapon made by Usopp. After a wave of skills, Nami found that they were all entertainment effects. The one walking the birds and the one scattering flowers made the bounty hunter laugh. I'll make you laugh enough. Nami was so embarrassed and angry that he took out a detonating charm and wanted to blow up these bastards. Just as he was about to take action, 3 shurikens accurately hit 3 soy sauces, directly hitting their heads. Ha ha, Nami, are you here to be funny? I really burst into tears laughing. Nami said in a bad tone, Shi Kong. You still have the nerve to smile. Don't you know what this situation means now? We are in danger. After Shi Kong took back the shuriken, he blinked innocently and said, they don't know me at all. Nami was so angry that this guy was not the person who issued the reward. Now is not the time to talk about this. You have also seen that many people want our heads. Now Luffy and the others are probably in danger. We have to get them back quickly. As he spoke, Nami was sensitively aware of the changes in the sky. The air pressure is changing, a storm is coming, act fast. Shi Kong looked up at the increasingly gloomy sky. Is it really such a coincidence? Are you here? The leader of the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Long. On the eve of the storm, it was Rog Town again, and Shi Kong had to suspect that this was some classic plot. If it was really because Luffy's father came to send his son to sea, then Shi Kong wouldn't panic at all. Although this guy has never shown his strength, but to be the leader of the revolutionaries, Guan Zongqianbao must be a ruthless person. If he is here, Luffy can save the day no matter what, right? Shi Kong slapped his fingers, and a splash of water condensed into a human form, turning into a bald man. Let's go. Nami, in that case, go find everyone. Leave the goods to the clone. With that said, Shi Kong pulled Nami and turned into a gust of wind, with Nami swinging behind like a kite. Hey, put me down. I'm going to vomit. Speaking of vomiting, Shi Kong immediately thought of something and suddenly stopped. When it appeared, the scene changed to Albaro holding Nami in his arms and running towards the square as fast as a bandit. While Nami was shaking, she read the instructions for the weather wand. Central Square. It seems that there is a force that brings everyone here. Usopp was carrying large and small bags, and he and Sanji were carrying a huge elephant tuna. Sanji, is this the prize of the chef competition? That's great. Shi Kong and Luffy will be so surprised if they see it. Usopp seemed to see the twinkling eyes of the two. Sanji was quite proud with a cigarette in his mouth. This trip to sea was really his wisest decision. He saw a lot of things he had never seen before, especially the beautiful and powerful flamingo female chef he met in the competition, which left a deep impression on him. When the two reached the intersection, a green algae head ran towards them. It was Zoro who had used the crowd to get rid of Marine. Zoro breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the two of them. It's a good thing I met you here. I don't even know where to find you. At the same time, Albaro and Nami, who rushed out from the corner, also spotted the three of them. Shi Kong was surprised for a while. Hey, you are here. Is it such a coincidence? There is only one possibility for such a coincidence. Luffy, that idiot, won't be caught by Buggy. At this time, there was a sudden commotion among the crowd. Some people fled in all directions, some stopped and watched, and some even shouted for help. Everyone was talking about it. Look, Roger's execution platform is about to be executed again. Sure enough, needless to say this scene. Luffy is such a careless guy. Shi Kong said, half jokingly and half seriously, I bet the guy who was executed is Luffy. 100,000 Baileys, is anyone following? Zoro sneered. Idiot fisherman, before Luffy became One Piece, he went to One Piece's execution platform. Isn't this appropriate? Sanji took a puff of cigarette and echoed. Don't mention it, One Piece's execution platform matches well with One Piece's Luffy. Suddenly a loud shout echoed throughout the square. The voice was very familiar. I am the man who wants to be One Piece. When everyone heard this, they knew without thinking which idiot it was from. They hurriedly moved forward against the flow of people, and finally saw the scene of the execution platform. It's really Luffy. Everyone saw Luffy chained to the execution platform and broke into a cold sweat. Several people rushed to the execution platform in an instant. Kabaji smiled slightly when he saw the familiar face, stepped on his unicycle and waved his machete. The vice captain orders you to stop them. No one can stop Captain Buggy. Damn it, you actually want to order me. Mochi, who failed in the struggle for power, looked unwilling. Suddenly, Mochi's eyes moved quickly. Chapter 57 Arita and Arbelo. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. It has started to rain. The fool Luffy is about to be executed. However, the rescue of the partners has also begun. The first person to appear was Kang transformed into Albero. Young ones, tell me who is the most beautiful woman in this sea. Kang shouted a slogan, weighed his fat body, and quickly began to form seals with his hands, which put enough pressure on everyone. His mission is to use ninjutsu to clear a path and create opportunities for Sanji and Zoro. Wind escape great breakthrough. The storm swept across, instantly blowing out a vacuum area, and the pirates and onlookers in front were blown away one after another. Many people watched this scene with great excitement, but only one person was very angry. At this time, under the execution platform, a graceful lady saw Kang, her veins popped out. She raised her big stick and said angrily. Ah, you be asterisk 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 D. I finally found you, Kang. This was Arita who had successfully undergone plastic surgery. At this time, she felt disgusted with Albero and jumped up and slid towards Kang. After Kang opened the way, Zoro and Sanji charged desperately to the left and right, defeating the pirates who blocked them one by one. Everyone is working hard. We are about to enter the Grand Line, and the captain is going to die. Who wouldn't panic if I put this on? Must kill Fire Star. At this time, Usopp was trembling and hiding behind the fountain to protect the others. He was sweating profusely at the moment, and every time he used his sniper ability to shoot, a pirate would fall to the ground. Also hiding behind the fountain was Nami, also dripping with cold sweat, looking at the manual. She had not yet learned the basics of how to play the weather stick. At this time, Nami suddenly gave Usopp a big beating. Because when she saw the end of the instruction manual, it said that the previous items were actually for banquet entertainment functions. Nami exploded instantly. A notebook, the banquet performance took up 2/3. You were playing with me. And Kang. He actually participated in the research and development of the weather stick. He kept laughing at her but didn't tell her the truth. Nami was so angry that it itched her teeth. Nami gritted his teeth and looked at Kang, but he saw a woman stopping Kang. Who is this woman? At this time, Arita came gliding gracefully with her handheld shoes, like a skier with superb skills, spinning lightly and then stopped perfectly in front of Kang. Arita pointed at Kang and asked, You. What have you done with my body? Kang looked at the beautiful Miss Arita and knew that Li Gui had met Li Kui. He compared the difference between the two of them. Not only did Arita lose weight, she also got G taller. This fruit is simply a magical tool for cosmetic surgery. Kang was going to take a dip anyway, because he had already seen a man on a roof with Sharingan. It moved back and forth, needless to say he had already guessed who it was. This man seemed to be observing all of Luffy's friends. When he noticed that Kang was looking at him, the man was a little surprised. Even his shifting posture became a lot more irritating. Now that Arita stopped him, Kang felt at ease and asked, knowingly, Who are you? Arita held the iron rod in her hand, and her seductive voice sounded, I am Iron Rod Arita. You can be forgiven for not recognizing me, after all, I am too beautiful now. As she spoke, Arita gently fiddled with her hair, focusing on temptation. Kang pretended to be shocked and retorted, Nonsense. Impossible. How could Arita be? Oh no, I am Arita. My fat body and this iron rod are the best evidence. Arita narrowed her eyes, stepped on the ground and slid towards Kang, hit Kang on the head with a stick, and said angrily. You're a piece of shit Arita. Although Arita has become very charming, she still has a bad temper. Kang's wrist glowed with blue light, and he also raised his big stick to challenge. The battle between real and fake Alita is about to begin. You're too slow. Beauty. Kang teleported, jumped into the air behind Arita, and struck hard with his stick. However, a strange scene occurred. When the big stick came into contact with Arita's body, it slipped away. The passive of slippery fruit. Kang was hit by inertia and fell to pieces. Bang. The transformation spell was forced to cancel, and he became a bald man. Arita mocked. Your attacks are ineffective against me, idiot. I am a slippery person who ate the slippery fruit. Kang frowned and wanted to get up but found that the ground was as smooth as a mirror, with no friction at all. Can this fruit affect objects without developing it? It's interesting. I forgot to mention it. Slide carefully. This Arita is really bad. You shouldn't have warned her earlier. At this time, Luffy's cheerful voice came, seeming to say goodbye to everyone. Sorry, guys, I'm dying. Kang twisted the muscles on his neck with difficulty and looked up in Luffy's direction. Such a calm attitude towards death. Luffy, you deserve to be my G captain. At this time, Arita was sliding around leisurely. She knocked the stick and smiled charmingly. Tell me, how should I deal with you? Cool D. Kong. You can't escape from me now. The palm of my hand. As she was speaking, a bolt of thunder suddenly descended from the sky, and the thunder light reflected on her face, making the beautiful Arita even more ferocious. After a loud rumbling sound, the square was eerily quiet for a moment. Kong lay on the ground and simply stopped moving, pretending to be serious and asked, Are you really Arita? Arita looked sulky and lifted Kong up. Tell me, why did you use my body? If you answer well, I'll give you a happy answer. Kong slowly said. Since it's really you, I have nothing to hide. Get out of the way, Kong is about to start showing off. When I first met you, you always asked others who was the most beautiful woman in the world. You were obviously ugly, but you kept seeking approval from others. At that time, I just felt pitiful for you. Shut up. Arita seemed to have been touched on a painful spot, and she raised her stick and was about to hit it down. When the big stick is only 1 centimeter away from Kang's head. Actually, I just want to help you. Hearing this, Arita's big stick stopped in the air, as if she wanted to hear what Kong said. Seeing this, Kong continued. I have been reflecting on it since that time, because my instinctive reaction may have hurt your self-esteem, so I want to apologize to you. My behavior at the time was indeed inappropriate. Later I thought, in this case, it is better to let your name resound throughout the sea, so that you no longer feel inferior because of your appearance. I want to tell you through actions that it doesn't matter even if you are not beautiful. As long as you have confidence and unique charm, every woman can become the queen of the world. Kong continued calmly, with a firm light shining in his eyes. I want you to know that beauty is not limited to appearance, it is also the inner tenacity, wisdom and courage. Your strength, your determination, and your passion for pursuing your dreams have long surpassed the world's superficial understanding of beauty. Arita's hands trembled slightly when she heard these words. She looked down at Kong. Although her appearance had undergone earth-shaking changes, Kang's words were like a ray of light shining into her heart. Her eyes gradually changed from anger to doubt, and then to deep thought, with a complicated light shining in her eyes. Would anyone really do this for that ugly, fat self? Arita always felt that something was wrong, and lightly opened her red lips. Is everything you said true? Kong replied sincerely. It's absolutely true. Chapter 58 Execution, The Art of Real Crying. Time goes back to when everyone met. Buggy raised his knife and introduced himself to the crowd in the square. Hello everyone. I am Buggy, the clown of the Buggy Pirates. This person has offended me because of his arrogance. Sentenced to capital punishment. There was a commotion in the crowd at the name. It's indeed him. Everyone, run. That vicious and cunning pirate, Buggy the clown. After hearing that it was Buggy, many guys who wanted to continue watching the show unconsciously accelerated their pace to leave. Ha 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 ha, the execution is about to begin. Luffy looked excited and said, This is my first time watching an execution. Buggy said with sharp teeth. You idiot. You are the one who will be executed. Luffy instantly looked horrified. What? Are you kidding me? Buggy the clown shouted. You are too slow. Are you kidding me? Buggy was speechless and looked at Straw Hat Luffy like he was a fool. If this can be One Piece, then it's not too much for me to be 4 emperors, right? At this time, the square was crowded with people, which was not much different from when One Piece was executed. Buggy raised his knife to Luffy and said, It's rare that there are so many people. Do you have any last words to say? Straw Hat Boy. These words were very familiar to Luffy, and they instantly activated the muscle memory in his brain, and he shouted with all his strength. I want to be a One Piece man. The sound spread randomly, and everyone in the execution platform was stunned. What? Hi, One Piece. Are you crazy? But in this town, on the execution platform, you said such big words, aren't you afraid of death? Suddenly a strong wind swept across, flying sand and rocks. The crowd was torn apart by the strong wind, and a road was opened. Keep the enemy alive, ×2. 3 blades tornado. Ground meat shoot. Seeing the 2 straw hats fighting prowess, Buggy laughed wildly. I want to see if you are One Piece. Ha ha ha. As Buggy's knife slowly fell, Luffy looked at his fighting partners. Sorry, guys, I'm dying. Everyone in the straw hats looked at Luffy in unison. Their expressions were dull and they had different thoughts. Facing death with a smile, such a state of mind. Bartolomeo in the crowd fell to the ground in admiration. For the first time, he was completely attracted by a person's momentum and murmured. Is this the most evil pirate group in the East China Sea? Is this the momentum of pirates? It's completely different from the level of the gangster brother. At the same time, Smoker, who arrived with a group of Marines, saw this scene and was so shocked that he dropped his cigar. It reminded him of when he was a kid and saw One Piece, Gall D. Roger's execution. Same place, same smile. Laughing. Is this straw hat boy serious? Buggy's knife fell quickly, and as his knife struck down, the blue lightning fell faster. Lightning flashed like a dragon into the sea, and the dazzling blue light instantly illuminated the town of Rog, which was covered by dark clouds. Crack. Boom. Thunder and lightning instantly enveloped Luffy and Buggy, and then the execution platform collapsed. Luffy's straw hat fell, unscientifically unscathed. As the lightning fell, it began to rain heavily. Everyone looked like they were looking at gods, their mouths wide open. How is it possible? Lightning. What a coincidence. All forces showed incredulous expressions. As we all know, rubber is immune to lightning, so only buggy god tier lay there. Luffy calmly bent down to pick up his hat, put it back on his head, stood on the collapsed execution platform, smiled and said to everyone. Ah ha 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 ha, it seems that I survived. I'm so lucky. Sanji shakily lit up a cigarette again and asked Zoro next to him, do you believe there is a god in this world? Zoro sneered, are you crazy? A god who can control thunder and lightning. How is that possible? Stop talking nonsense and leave this town quickly. The chief here is a difficult guy. As soon as Zoro finished speaking, the Marines surrounded the rogue town square. Straw Hat Boy, let me see where you run this time. Smoker ordered. All Marines. Arrest all pirates here, leave no one behind. It's the Smoke Man here. Luffy ran away, shouting, run, friends. Sanji circled around and kicked all the pirates away, then turned into a licking dog and pounced on Nami. Miss Nami, your guardian knight is here to pick you up. Zoro quickly reminded Sanji, don't be stupid. Curl your eyebrows, be careful of the Smoke Man, don't get entangled. And where is that B*************** D Chi Kong? At this time, Chi Kong was still in love. As soon as the chakra wrapped his limbs, he suddenly stood up, and the smoothness made by the slippery fruit felt like walking on flat ground for him. It was a pleasure chatting with you, Arita. Good-looking skins are all the same, but interesting souls are unique. Goodbye. Chi Kong suddenly appeared in the center of the square. When Arita saw Chi Kong suddenly disappearing, the stick made a crunching sound, and she said angrily. You are actually immune to my slippery fruit. Have you been teasing me? Cool D Chi Kong. When Chi Kong appeared, he had already transformed into Albero. As soon as I arrived, I saw a green-haired man who was not Zoro with an excited face, leading his little brother to put a sack on Marine. He looked at Luffy and everyone with squinted expressions, but he didn't dare to step forward to say hello. Chi Kong, you came just in time. Leave quickly, Zoro shouted from the side. Chi Kong nodded. I'll deal with the miscellaneous soldiers first. Nami makes the rain in the square heavier. Nami heard this and smiled confidently. I'll tell you about the great weather when I get back. As he spoke, the weather wand in his hand kept rotating, quickly creating warm and cold bubbles. As the bubbles floated into the air, the rain began to fall sharply. At this time, Chi Kong quickly formed seals with his hands, which was a relatively complicated water-style ninjutsu. This trick, water style, was developed by Chi Kong himself. Itachi had experienced that person's rain tiger free technique, and the secret technique of thousand killings water soaring, of Kurigakure in Akatsuki. The ninjutsu he developed is injecting chakra into rainwater to turn it into water needles. And Itachi is not very proficient in water style, unlike fire style, which can be done with just one clap, so Chi Kong spent some time this time. This ninjutsu directly takes advantage of the powerful precipitation brought by storms, simply by raising the chakra to change the shape of the rain. It's easy to say it's easy, but it's hard to say it's difficult. At this time, Arita chased after her with a big stick and asked. Cuckoo D Chi Kong, what on earth are you going to do? Did you lie to me just now? Chi Kong had no time to pay attention to her, and finally used Luffy's sincere special move and said with a smile. I said, I will make your beauty resound throughout the sea. That's all. After Chi Kong finished speaking, he ignored it and continued to make seals in his hands. Now is not the time to talk about love. Arita was controlled by Chi Kong for several seconds with a mouth escape. Damn it, there is such a beautiful lady looking for you, why? Sanji was so envious. But what makes Sanji collapse even more? Roronoa Zoro, you deceived me. I want to arrest you. A marine girl with a sword stopped everyone. You go first, I'll deal with that woman. Zoro pulled out the knife with a bored expression on his face. Green algae head, fisherman. You guys. Chi Kong ignored the collapsed Sanji and shouted to everyone. Get out of here quickly, I'm going to turn it on. Remember to protect Nami and Usopp. Sanji bit his tie with a look of reluctance. Ah. If you dare to bully lady, I will kick you to death. Nami couldn't stand it anymore and said angrily, stop making trouble. Sanji, leave quickly. Luffy wrapped his companion in a rubber wrap and ran away. Let's go, friends. The rest is left to Chi Kong and Zoro. After everyone left, Chi Kong clapped his hands. Water-style true heavenly crying technique. Ninjutsu, which has been brewing for a long time, seems like nothing happened. Suddenly, the rain over the square stopped suddenly, bursts of thunder came from the sky, and the feeling of depression continued to spread. Then, crash, the needle-like rain fell at high speed. Ah, it hurts. This is not ordinary rain. This is a needle. There were constant screams in the square, and the pirates and marines were in chaos, and they began to avoid the raindrops like needles falling. This time Chi Kong developed the large-scale ninjutsu himself. The effect is very good, but it consumes too much chakra. If he were Kisame, he would never be out of breath. Run, Arita, see you on the sea. Chapter 59 You chase, I run away. Arita saw the scumbag trying to run away, so she caught up with her shoes. You chase me and run away, but we can't escape even if we don't have wings. You can't run away, Chi Kong, speak clearly to me. At this time, an even more angry voice came. What have you done, magic witch Arita? The person who came was Smoker, who was chasing him alone. His anger almost ignited the air. Although the water needles made by Kang did not do much damage, they were so numerous that it was a disaster for his weak men. He will have a headache for a long time with the medical expenses and clothing expenses this time. He doesn't know if his subordinates will get the disease of being scared when it rains in the future. His body turned into smoke and rushed towards Kang. True Alita hit the smoke that Smoker turned into with a stick, and roared, "Open your eyes wide, I am the real Alita. You stupid marine." Smoker didn't even look at this beauty, and a stream of smoke bound Arita. As I passed by, I made a look. Do you think Smoker, I'm stupid? Arita found out that the slippery fruit couldn't deflect the smoke, and looked at Smoker's look at the idiot, trembling with anger. Kang, who had just run a few steps, turned around helplessly and said to Arita, "Hey. Are you a fool? This is the fruit of Logia. Can't you hear me letting you go?" He estimated the chakra and clapped his hands. Fire-style Phoenix Sage Fire Jutsu. In an instant, several tiny but hot fireballs spurted out. Smoker nimbly dodged them, but the target of the flames was not him. The fireball melted the smoke shackles that bound Alita. D Kang. Just wait for me. Arita screamed in pain, her hatred for Kang burning like a fire. Kang took some time to stop and save people, which also allowed Smoker to quickly approach. As the distance between the two of them got closer, Smoker took a deep breath of cigarette and sneered at the corner of his mouth. Scheme Enchantress Arita, you can't control the seawater on land, can you? White Snake. Instantaneous technique. Shave plus smoke locks. Substitution. White Fist. Water Barrier. After the two people performed a dazzling operation, Kang couldn't stand it anymore and asked breathlessly, "Are you a dog?" "Smoker. Why are you always staring at me?" Smoker's face was gloomy and he responded coldly. "Don't you like Danho? Catch you. They will definitely come back to save you. I will end your evil pirate group here." Kang pointed at Dasky, who was pushed against the eaves by Zoro. "It's not just me. Your little brother is dating Zoro over there. Don't you care?" Zoro. Dasky. Smoker. At this time, Smoker looked at Dasky and then at Zoro, with an 8 trigrams look on his face. 3 Blades Tornado. After Zoro's attack, the screen changed to Kang and Zoro running side by side. "Zoro. You idiot fisherman. Why did you drag me in?" Kang. "We've run out of lousy blue. You have to carry it. Stop talking nonsense. Run. You're a lost swordsman without me to lead the way. You might have gone to the marine base." Smoker turned into a jet, with 10 weapons in one hand and an iron fist in one hand, and his arms turned into smoke, attacking the two people on the left and right. "Do you think you escaped?" he growled. At this time, True Alita's voice cut across the battlefield. "Smelly marine, stop it. Otherwise I will kill this guy." She was holding Dasky's neck, the big stick in her hand was still hanging, and the threat was obvious. Smoker heard the sound and turned around, turning into white smoke and rushing towards Arita. "Stop it. What do you want to do to my deputy?" At this time, Smoker was furious. Kang and Zoro also frowned. Arita's behavior is obviously to attract hatred. His fruit power can't run away against Smoker. Seeing this scene, Kang stopped again and gritted his teeth. "Arita, are you poisonous? You are not hurting my brotherhood. You are making me feel guilty for the rest of my life." "What a vicious heart. What a vicious woman." Kang turned around and asked. "Hey, you woman, I told you I don't do lesbians. What do you mean? Let go of that female marine." Arita said calmly, "I don't want to owe you a favor. Otherwise I won't be able to squeeze you to death next time." Cool Kang. Before Arita could finish pretending, a white smoke trapped him tightly, and the big stick fell to the ground. It looked like Smoker was going to strangle Arita to death. "Hey, fisherman, do you want to turn back?" Zoro on the side said calmly. Kang did not answer, but pointed in a direction. "Zoro, have you seen the location of the Mary?" Zoro looked along his fingers and didn't see Meili, but he saw a bald man approaching quickly. It was Kang's shadow clone. As the clone turned into smoke, Kang instantly took a drink of blue, turned around and rushed towards Smoker. Seeing this, Zoro turned around and pulled out his knife. HMPH. "I just want to try to see if I can hit the smoke man now." At this time, the Meili is on board. Usopp anxiously reported the chaotic situation. "Damn it, why did Zoro and Kang look back again? What's going on? What the hell are these two doing?" Everyone also looked anxious and confused. If they wait any longer, Marine will surround this place. Luffy may have realized something. He suddenly raised his hands and yelled willfully. "Little ones, go pick up Kang and Zoro. Without them, I don't want to go to sea." The idiot captain ordered. Sanji silently lit up the cigarette. Nami, although scared, picked up the weather stick with determination, and Usopp tremblingly mounted the cannon. Just as everyone was about to attack, a hurricane struck. While the strong wind gently blew Smoker away, it just happened to blow Kang, Zoro and the friends who came to rescue them back steadily, and at the same time destroyed all the artillery at the coastal entrance. Everything seems to be fate, everything is God's will. Smoker looked at the sky in confusion. A voice rang in his ear. What reason is there to prevent a man from going to sea? Smoker. Smoker did not dare to act rashly and said calmly, "The government has always wanted your head." The voice. "The world awaits our answers." Straw Hat managed to escape. Sanji took a puff of cigarette and said with an unhappy look on his face, You two bastards, what happened to those two ladies? What did you do to them? Nami pushed away Sanji, who had become unrecognizable due to jealousy, and cursed. Hey. Zoro and Kang, are you stupid? What happened in the end? Usopp interjected weakly. Doesn't anyone want to express their opinions on Raiden and Wind? Zoro said nothing and drank the wine calmly, which was given by Dasky. Kang nestled in his den, thinking about Luffy's father's gust, and how much chakra he had to invest. What a terrible man. Kang felt that if Luffy hadn't wanted to save him, Luffy's father wouldn't necessarily have cared about it. Of course, he couldn't rule out that it was some kind of test for the two of them. Thanks, Luffy, it's good to have you. Luffy didn't know why, thinking that Kang was thanking him for rescuing them, and said cheerfully. Me, you're welcome, because we are partners. You will also save me, right? Since you have successfully escaped, let's have a party. Ha ha. At this time, Nami raised his fist, as if on the verge of explosion. Bang. Times 4. The idiot Luffy, as well as Zoro and Kang who ignored her, including Sanji who was beyond recognition, each of the four received a hit from Nami's signature, domineering, attack. Usopp, the only one who escaped this disaster, is currently shivering in the corner. Dumb. Each person's loan limit was deducted 100,000 yuan, but Kang knew and did not report the deduction of 200,000 yuan. Everyone looked dissatisfied, but soon, aho, there's a party, Sanji. Chapter 60 Upside Down Mountain, Dream Oath. When Smoker and Marine arrived at the port, they could only see a small black dot gradually disappearing, which was the back of Meili's ship. Sorry, Colonel Smoker. Dasky walked forward wearing a raincoat, bent towards Smoker, and said to the air beside him. A group of injured Marine soldiers. Are your glasses broken again? Smoker covered his face, as if he had no shame to look at this subordinate. After a moment, he comforted. It's not your fault, Dasky, it was that guy who took action. Smoker took a puff of cigarette. Prepare the warship. Let's go to the Grand Line too. I swear on the name of White Hunter Smoker. I will arrest the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats don't know that there is a love-hate Marine who is hunting them all over the world. After coming out of Rog Town, everyone headed in the direction of Upside Down Mountain. On this day, Nami gathered everyone and took a picture of the map on the table. If we continue to move forward like this, the entrance to the Grand Route will be this mountain. Mountain. How is it possible to climb a mountain? What about Mary? Usopp looked puzzled. Kang on the side was stroking his bald head and starting to reminisce. Nami continued to explain. Yes, the map shows there is a canal. Usopp jumped out again. Canal. Are you talking nonsense? Even if there is a canal, it is impossible for Mary to climb up the mountain. At this moment, Kang, who had sorted out his thoughts, stood up and said confidently, I know this, let me explain to you about Upside Down Mountain. The Upside Down Mountain in the One Piece world is the first intersection between the Red Continent and the Grand Line, and is also the entrance to the Grand Line. There are a total of 5 waterways on Upside Down Mountain. These 4 rivers connect 4 different sea areas, East China Sea, West Blue, South Blue, and North Blue respectively, forming an X shape as a whole. Water flows in and out in 4 directions, 4 of which led to the top of the mountain, and the last one flows into the Grand Line. Following Kang's description, everyone's faces showed surprise and curiosity. When asked why Kang, who knew nothing about sea charts, knew so much about it, he smiled mysteriously. I am a ninja, and collecting intelligence is part of my strength. Look, everyone, there is really an upward current. Usopp relied on his keen observation skills to discover an upward flowing canal in the towering center of the Red Continent. There is actually a river for climbing mountains. The fisherman didn't lie. Zoro picked up the rope. He had learned a lot. Everyone was excited. The Grand Line, we are coming. Even though the rain was pouring down above his head, it still couldn't stop Luffy's enthusiasm. He raised his hands high and stood on the bow of the goat boat and shouted excitedly. At this time, Sanji found a wooden barrel and proposed a special launching ceremony as a commemoration of entering the Grand Line. Kang covered his mouth and chuckled. The so-called ceremony is what Hami jokingly calls the foot meeting. This group of guys who are chasing their dreams take an oath at this moment. Sanji was the first to put his left foot on the barrel, holding a cigarette that had been wet by the rain, and announced, I want to find all blue. The place where ingredients from all over the world are gathered. Luffy couldn't wait to become the second person, raising his arms and shouting, I want to be One Piece. Zoro smiled crookedly and put his feet up. In order to fulfill my childhood promise, I became the world's greatest swordsman. Let Roronoa Zoro's name ring throughout the heavens. Nami looked at everyone and smiled knowingly. I want to draw the best world map. And earn many, many Baileys. Usopp timidly joined in. I want to be a brave sea warrior. Return home with honor. There is only one person left. Everyone looked at Kang who was giggling. It's your turn. Finally, Kang stepped forward, placed his feet side by side with his companions, and declared loudly. I want to leave my fishing presence everywhere, accompany everyone to realize all their dreams, and fulfill the promise I made with Erida, letting her beauty resound throughout the sea. The dream is sworn in. Everyone looked at Kang with disgust. I remember your dream is not to catch rare fish from all over the world. Usopp looked confused. Suddenly he came over to Kang's fish bucket and looked at it, and said in a strange tone, Oh. So you are the life of the Air Force today. Kang's face turned dark when he heard Usopp's words. Nami on the side also teased. Don't you have too many dreams? Does it count as your dream to accompany everyone to realize their dreams? Kang nodded heavily. This was his dream, and he added others out of fear of embarrassment. Zoro on the side had an unhappy look on his face. Why do I think you copied my lines? Usopp slapped Zoro on the shoulder and joked angrily. I think you and Kang are a good match, Zoro. Kang fishes and Sanji does it. I think Kang and Sanji are better suited. Ha ha. Luffy laughed. At this time, Sanji bit his napkin, twisted with jealousy. Is Arita that beautiful lady? Why, you and green algae head actually. Kang turned into Albira with a bang and said, this is Alrita. Sanji's face darkened, and he raised and lowered his feet, looking very uncomfortable. After a while, the melee arrived at the entrance of the upwelling current. Amid a burst of laughter, everyone was getting closer and closer to the upside-down mountain with their dreams in mind. Looking at the water flowing upstream, Luffy opened his mouth in excitement and laughed loudly. This is so interesting, ha ha ha. Then he jumped on his exclusive throne, held down the straw hat with one hand, raised his hands high and waved forward. Go. Melee. Boom. The next second, Luffy was kicked out of the special seat by the furious Nami. You don't need to say this. Go and help. Hey, can't you see that everyone is very busy now? Even if you are the captain, you can still be useful to me. You be asterisk 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 D. Nami, this is not fair. Why doesn't Kang have to work? Luffy refused and pointed at Kang standing on the side of the ship. At this time, Kang was opening his arms to embrace the sea breeze and mist, with a look of intoxication on his face. Nami raised his fist. He is a ninja, do you know how to clone yourself? Kang separated a shadow clone to help Usopp and Sanji control the rudder, and 2 water clones to alert and remind Melee. What happened to his body? At this time, the voice of Kang's water avatar came from the sea current below Melee. Hey, Nami, Mary seems to be hitting the wall. Because of the turbulent sea currents, coupled with abnormal phenomena such as air currents and wind pressure, everyone was in a hurry. Rubber balloon. Luffy used a rubber balloon to bounce the Mary back on track in time to avoid hitting the wall of Upside Down Mountain. This made everyone breathe a sigh of relief, and then everyone saw a strange scene. Starting to climb the mountain. It's amazing. The scenery is so beautiful. Chapter 61 Whale Laboon. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. As it reaches the top of the mountain, the water from the other 3 oceans also converges here, pushing the golden Melee all the way down. Nami stared at the beam of light coming from the distance and asked, have you seen that light? The Grand Line is right in front of that tower. If you break out of this waterway, you will find the Grand Line below. Did you hear anything? Zoro suddenly heard a strange sound similar to an animal. It should be the special wind noise caused by the terrain. Nami answered nonchalantly. Whatever. Go for it. Luffy shouted excitedly. Is there a mountain in front? It's about to hit. Oh, it's this guy. Come out. The ultimate fast rod. Suddenly one of the eyes of the giant creature in front opened. This isn't a mountain, it's a whale. Ah. What should I do? Usopp was so frightened that his legs kept shaking. Nami almost collapsed and trembled. Are you fools? If we collide, the ship will sink. When Luffy heard this, he realized the seriousness of the matter and it was too late to turn into a rubber balloon. Then I'll blow it away. Kang had already jumped off the ship with water. He didn't dare to gamble. If the car crashed and everyone died, it would be over. They quickly formed seals with their hands, and 3 voices shouted at the same time. Water-style water barrier. The seawater was pulled to form a wall of water. When the bow of Melee's boat was about to hit the whale, the car was stopped in time, allowing Melee to save her head. Luffy had a cute look on his face and punched the whale in the eye. Don't block the road, big fish. One punch struck, but the whale didn't move at all. It seems I can't fly. Luffy said stupidly. Are you an idiot? ×5. Roar. The whale seems angry. Kang's 2 water clones were directly destroyed by the sound waves, and the whale's cry almost penetrated people's eardrums. What's more, the water is rushing into the whale's open mouth. At this time, because the suction force was too strong and the sea currents were turbulent, the Melee had already spun and fallen into the belly of the whale. Oops. Wait for me. Kang shouted into the wind. However, it was too late to say anything at this time. Kang stepped on the land and was messy in the wind, looking at the lighthouse next to him with a blank expression. His body actually didn't go in. I didn't know where to go for a while. Hey, now that it's here, let's make peace with it. I hope Shadow Clone can be saved. After the whale Laboon drank enough, it began to hit the Red Earth continent, causing Kang's position to tremble 3 times. Thinking that if this guy could be psychic, he would be a powerful being in the New World, right? However, based on the memory calculations in his mind, he wanted to summon Laboon across space. The chakra required for such a large body was terrifying, unless he had the Samsara Eye. Kang shook his head and eliminated this unrealistic idea. After all, Laboon can only fight in water. He prefers amphibians like Moo. Moreover, Laboon also has a dream bond with the Straw Hats. He narrowed his eyes, took out the supreme fast pole, and took out the special fishing bait from his pocket. Finally I can fish with peace of mind. I am determined to be the fishing king. If I can. Ha ha ha. Kong seemed to have thought of something and smiled like the four heroes of Uchiha. He bit his finger. Ninjutsu. Psychic technique. As the psychic formula appeared on the scroll, a burst of smoke passed. Moo. The manatee Moo Moo appeared in the sea and looked around in confusion. Dumb. Murkrow greeted Moo Moo. Momo looked at Kong, who was fishing, full of doubts, as if he was asking why he asked me to come. It's okay, I'll take you on a trip. Are you familiar with the Grand Line? Mumo looked at the huge whale that was more than 10 times bigger than him with disdain. Be cute and attract Laboon's attention. Relieve its restless heart. Mumo's face was full of questions, it was not a heifer. Wait, the species are different too. Momo pointed at himself, as if he was saying something to Kong, but Kong couldn't understand. Finally, Mumu sighed and wandered near Kong, playing with the little dark crow in the water. As for Laboon, it seemed that he had no interest in Mumu at all. Kong chose a good spot and threw out a large rod hung with special bait. Hey, come here, Laboon, bite the hook, okay. Suddenly Moo swam over. I didn't call you, idiot Moo. The fishing rod suddenly shook. Taken the bait. It can't be Moo, right? If this guy is caught, there will be no fish catch bonus. Feel the weight below. Damn it, Lousy doesn't want you. Get out. Lousy is a man who wants to catch whales. Kong picked up an oil paintbrush. Then, pieces of iron. Skulls and skulls. Kong looked at the skull and touched his bald head. Isn't it a taboo? Is there such a thing in fishing? Even if there are no whales, why is there not even a single fish? The special bait will be gone soon. Here's the golden legend. Lousy has called for help, can you give me a chance? Usopp must have cursed me for flying today. Predicting the future is so terrifying. Kong threw the fishhook at Laboon again, and the big whale was still hitting the red earth continent like crazy. In the belly of the whale at this time, under a false blue sky and white clouds. Zoro woke up first and asked, what do you think? Sanji lit a cigarette and said, we seem to have been swallowed by a whale. Luffy laughed and said, it's great to be alive. As for the others, Usopp was covered in shock and sweat. I want to go home, so I shouldn't go out with you. If I don't go to sea, I won't. These were Nami's thoughts, and she seemed to be going crazy. Fortunately, the shadow clone is not broken. Although some chakra was wasted. Kong looked happy and felt the body made by chakra, as well as 1/4 of the chakra itself. Nami looked at the clone Kong and was about to cry. In other words, only Kong escaped, and our fate is to become shit, right? At this time, Luffy shouted. Look, there is a small island over there. Everyone looked at the peaceful island style around them with incredible expressions on their faces. It's not a dream, is it? It's really the belly of a whale. It doesn't look like it, does it? Zoro pointed at an old man fishing for squid on the small island and said, can't you just ask? This is an old man with a flower on his head, wearing a beach shirt, beach pants, and slippers. He is sitting calmly under the coconut tree on the island and reading a newspaper. Too laid back. Seeing someone mentioning him, the old man raised his head and glanced slightly. Usopp was suppressed by this momentum, and threatened tremblingly, hey. If there's a fight, we'll accompany you, we have cannons. The old man just said coldly, I advise you not to. The old man's eyes were devouring, and he said coldly, that will kill people. Sanji took a puff of cigarette. Oh, who do you think will die? Facing Sanji's question, the old man was silent for a while and then calmly uttered one word. Sanji. So you're talking about yourself. Chapter 62 Kuroka's Transaction. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. This old man said the most cowardly words in the most arrogant tone. This shocked the Straw Hats for 100 years. How dare you despise me like this? Sanji looked unhappy. Zoro stopped Sanji. Uncle, can you tell us who you are and where this is? Kuroka's, who was reading the newspaper, raised his eyes and said, before asking others, it's polite to at least tell yourself where you live, right? Zoro's mouth twitched. Well, you're right, I'm sorry, my name is Luo. Before Zoro could speak, the old man said slowly without raising his head. My name is Kuroka's, I am the lighthouse keeper of Twin Gorges, I am 71 years old, Gemini, AB blood type. Zoro turned into a shark tooth and immediately pulled out the sword with murderous intent. Is it okay if I chop him? Kuroka's disapproved. You asked me where I am, you broke into my private resort, and you dared to speak arrogantly. This guy Kuroka's looks very funny, but Kong knows that this old man has another identity, One Piece Gal D. Roger's ship's doctor. This is why Kong wants to keep Shadow Clone. If you want to get out, the exit is over there. Kuroka's pointed to them the exit in the whale's belly. Nami and Usopp breathed a sigh of relief. It's great that there is an exit. Suddenly, the two of them said in unison, this is so unreasonable. I didn't care about why there was an exit in the whale's belly for the time being. Just as everyone was about to leave, the sea suddenly began to tremble. Kuroka's looked attentively. Has it started yet? Laboon. Everyone was puzzled for a while, and Kuroka's did not hesitate to explain. After Kuroka's explanation, everyone realized that the whale's name was Laboon, and it was hitting the red continent for some reasons. Kuroka's climbed up the railing to give Laboon a sedative. Ah, at this moment, two unknown people flew out and fell into the gastric juice. It's Lady's voice. Your guardian knight has arrived. Is it finally my turn? Let's make a promise. Lady. Of course these words came from the nymphomaniac-looking Sanji. After Sanji fished them out, the whale Laboon had calmed down. The two men, who called themselves Mr. Nine and Ms. Wednesday, fired guns inside the whale after being rescued. Kuroka's actually used his body to block the cannonball. He landed on the ground with a charred face. Luffy got angry and knocked the two spirited young men unconscious on the deck. Poor spiritual girl Princess Vivi was suppressed by Luffy for the first time. Luffy and the others went to Kuroka's island and listened to him tell the story of Laboon. That was a story 50 years ago. The Lombard pirates decided to venture into the Great Channel. Because the Great Channel was too dangerous, the Lombard pirates could only leave Laboon in front of the Upside Down Mountain and let Laboon wait there for a while. We will come back after we circle the world. Then we can meet. So little Laboon stayed with tears in his eyes, waiting for the return of the Lumba pirates on this side of the Red Continent. How many vicissitudes of life have passed in the passing of time, and the little whale has turned into a whale that is bigger than the island, and even has an ocean inside its body. Everything in the world has changed, but Laboon is still waiting for his master's return here on the Red Earth continent. Because it wants to see its owner, it has been G its head against the Red Earth continent that can never be broken for decades, leaving itself scarred and neighing sadly. This whale as huge as an island lives a sad life like this every day. What it didn't know during its waiting days was that its owners had died fighting in the Great Channel decades ago. The only one who survived was the dead Brook. The result of the long wait was nothing. This kind of wait is endless. After seeing off the straw hats, Kuroka's murmured to Mary who was going out, "Is this the person we are waiting for? What a boy with extraordinary spirit. What do you think, Roger?" After saying that, he turned around and looked in the direction behind him, with an unkind expression on his face. "Then why did you stay? A ninja from Wano." Kong slowly walked out from the shadowed ceiling. Facing the sharp eyes of the old man named Kuroka's, Kong had a, yes, expression. "Sure enough, I can't hide it from you, senior. That's right, I'm from the country of Wano, Konoha village." Kuroka smiled crookedly, as if to say that Lousy has traveled more sea routes than Nami has done. "Is this a clone created by some kind of ability? I see your body seems to be doing strange things." Shadow Clone was confused, but he still flattered him and said, "You can see through it at a glance." Sure enough, he is still hotter than ever. He is indeed the ship's doctor of One Piece Gal D. Roger. Gal D. Roger. You know a lot. Kuroka slowly approached, and Kong instinctively retreated. The guy who can catch the king squid, even if he is a funny guy, is not like a weakling, let alone have the nerve to take the cannonballs. "Senior Kuroka's, I left this clone because I just want to make a deal with Senior." Kong spoke quickly, fearing that he would be crushed by this guy. Kuroka's wondered. "What deal? I want." Before Kong finished speaking, Kuroka said to himself. "Trading requires chips, what do you trade with?" Kong took a deep breath and could imagine how Zoro felt at that time. He blurted out. "The whereabouts of the only surviving crew member of the Lumba Pirates." Kuroka said with great interest. "Continue." Kong began to tell. "The Rumba Pirates are a pirate group led by Captain Madara Biaoyanki. They are full of Western cowboy flavor and originate from West Blue. The members are good at playing musical instruments. The pirate flag is a skull with horns and the bow is shaped like a bull skull. The slogan is, 'Make crying children laugh.'" Kuroka's raised his eyes and interrupted. "I know a lot, but to get to the point, my patience is limited. Tell me who is alive." Chapter 63 How to Practice Domineering, Whale Fishing. Kuroka's actually asked who was alive. This Kong was very familiar with him. Brother knows, Brook, is a user with the ability of the underworld fruit. This fruit can resurrect a person once after death, and gain magical power after resurrection. Kuroka's threw away the newspaper and looked at Kong with sharp eyes. "So, where is Brook now?" Kong looked at Kuroka's and knew that the old man had believed it. Brook's soul was lost in the Devil's Triangle, and when he found his body, he was resurrected in the form of a skeleton. After speaking, Kong stopped and waited for the old man opposite to digest the information in his words. "Skeleton. Resurrected. You and that long-nosed guy are partners, right?" Kuroka says, "Don't lie to me. Look. If there is this fruit, wouldn't the celestial dragons rush to eat it? With this fruit, Captain Lousy will not be offline. Senior, whether you believe it or not, I only have this information. As for whether it is true or false, you will know it later." Kong wanted to see what the old man's expression would be like when he saw that Brook's reward order belonged to the Straw Hats. Kuroka sat down again and returned to his leisurely state. "Okay, what do you want from me?" Kong categorically said. "The way to practice domineering." He did this after careful consideration. Even if the old man didn't know how to do it, he definitely knew how to practice. If you have never eaten pork, you must have seen pigs running away, right? Their next enemy, Crocodile, one of the Shichibukai, a user with the ability of the Shasha fruit. Although in the original work, Luffy defeated Crocodile because of the halo of the protagonist, it was inconsistent no matter how you look at it. It doesn't matter if you are afraid of water, blood can be hit. You must know that Lao Sha is a 50-50 hit against anyone in the war. Now Zoro is worried every day because he can't kill Smoke and Buggy, and he is exploring his Haki every day. They always say that Kang is as boastful as Usopp, but in fact there is no such thing as domineering. Kang said that he was not bragging, so Zoro asked him how to practice domineering. He knows nothing. He can only fool around. I can teach you how to practice domineering, but it's up to you whether you can learn it or not. Kuroka's said. Done. After Mary came out of the whale Laboon's belly, everyone was still discussing about the group of pirates, the guys who abandoned Laboon. As soon as everyone came out, they discovered that Laboon was in something wrong. In addition to being affected by the tranquilizer, Laboon also fell into a strange state. Is Mumo here too? What are you doing, Kang? Luffy looked curious. At this time, the fishing rod in Kang's hand on the shore was glowing with golden light, but he had a constipated expression on his face. The weirdest thing is that Mumu and Merc Crow actually helped pull the fishing rod together in their own way. Kang is fishing for whales, island whale Laboon. Just now, Laboon suddenly stopped hitting the red soil continent and was sluggish. Then Kang miraculously felt the wrestling invitation. This is the ultimate fast rod to catch Laboon. Biting the hook directly gave 5 inches strong promise. Physique, Kang did not want to give up this big fish. But the bad news is that it's almost too late. Laboon is about to wake up, and his power is not accumulating fast enough. The good news is that our partners are back now. Partners, hurry. Help, I need your power. I can catch the whale soon. What? Whale fishing. ×5. Usopp jumped out and pointed at Kang, sweating profusely and said, Kang, you are bragging, right? How is this possible? Kang saw that his friends were all in a daze, and after a burst of smoke, he transformed into Bikini Nami, exuding charm. 100 pieces of meat. 10 bottles of rum. Since it is Miss Nami's request, I will be the first one. This is Sanji. You mean meat. This is Luffy. Wine. It was Zoro. Whoosh. The 3 straw hats jumped up, and joined the wrestling army. One person grabs a fishing rod and exerts force in his own accustomed way. Nami covered her face. How could she not know how much money Kang had? 1, 2, harder. I've worked very hard, Miss Nami. Sanji stood in front of Kang, leaning his shoulder against the fishing rod and looking at a certain part with love. It's so fun to fish together, ha ha ha. Luffy wrapped his feet around a stone and his hands around the fishing rod, using the properties of rubber to exert force. How much strength does it take to pull it up? Zoro looked the most normal, but he tried his best, but the fishing rod didn't move at all. Strength accumulation. 63%, 65%, 87%. To catch big guys, the supreme big rod requires constant accumulation of energy, which can be understood as charging and wrestling, similar to the great move of the universe. With the trio of monsters, the energy accumulation value is accumulated at a high speed. Kang looked at Nami, who looked idiotic, and Usopp, who was surprised. Nami, I'll give you the sapphire lantern fish and the pink shark, and the 300,000 Baileys I have hidden privately. Usopp, don't you want to join us in whale fishing and go back to brag about it with Kaya? Whoosh. After Kang's endless call, Nami and Usopp, who looked unbelieving, finally joined the wrestling. Mosquitoes are small but they are also meat. At least Nami joined and Sanji helped a lot. The power accumulation has slowly reached 97%, but the subsequent numbers jumped very slowly. Kang watched as the balance of power kept tilting towards him, but it was always just a little bit close. What to do? Is it going to fail? He looked at the surprised blue-haired girl who was still on the boat. Vivi of Alabasta, Ms. Wednesday, I asked you and your partners to come over and help me. Vivi stretched out her finger and asked, who are you? You know me. Kang casually boasted something to break her defense, I am Neferutari. Help me quickly. Vivi's pupils suddenly shrank, she pursed her lips slightly, and when the crown man looked confused, she said, Mr. Nine, please help me. Mr. Nine looked at Vivi's firm eyes, and although he was full of confusion, he still chose to support her. Well, since Vivi said so. They came over, stood on Kang's side, and joined in this strange wrestling. With the addition of 2 people. Strength accumulation. 99%, 100%, 99%, 96%, 99%. The value is changing, which means Laboon is awake. Resisting. With the combined efforts of everyone, the island whale Laboon seemed to be pulled by an invisible force, and its huge body actually slowly rose. Great, we're almost successful. This is a whale, Luffy shouted excitedly, his rubber arms turning red from the exertion, and it seemed that he was about to unlock second gear. At the moment when the power was about to reach the critical point, Laboon's body suddenly shook violently like a mountain, as if it was about to get rid of this power. Laboon wakes up. Victory or failure depends on this. Get up. Kang is infused with all the chakra, and his wrists are shiny blue. Because of too much force, Kang's transformation technique was suddenly released, and Sanji's loving eyes instantly turned black. It's so disgusting. Get out of here. It was a coincidence that Sanji's explosive kick happened to hit the fishing rod. Strength accumulation. 102%. With the blessing of this power, your savings instantly exploded. The fishing rod flashes with golden light and the fishing line shrinks. With a deafening roar, the island whale Laboon was fished out of the sea by Kang's huge fishing rod with a confused look on his face. Chapter 64. Skyrocketing quality, Vivi. One fish opens the door to heaven. As Laboon was fished up, a shadow enveloped everyone. This scene made everyone present stunned and their eyes almost popped out. They actually caught the island whale with their mortal bodies. I'm not bragging. I've caught a whale, or an island whale. Usopp used exaggerated expressions to vividly interpret what, the awesomeness I boasted about has now come true. At this time, Nami suddenly thought of something and said anxiously. No, Chi Kong. Put it back into the sea quickly. Laboon will be stranded. Of course Chi Kong knows, he doesn't have such a big intention to copy the net. Suddenly Chi Kong felt a huge force coming from the fishing rod, so he decisively pressed the fishing line retraction button. As the fishing line shrank, Laboon fell into the sea again. After catching Laboon, Chi Kong received about 15 more, forcibly promised, physiques. Chi Kong could feel that the quality blessings should have been much more than that. This was because of the help of his partners. This blessing was much less. It seemed to be a great blessing. I absolutely do not acknowledge this evil behavior. However, coupled with the previous physical feedback, which totaled close to 20 inches strong appointments, the physical fitness has skyrocketed, and the amount of chakra has more than doubled. His Sharingan's eye power has been greatly improved, but there is still a long way to go before he can evolve into Mangekyo. According to his memory, 30 to 40 inches strong appointment qualities are needed to break through Sharingan to Mangekyo. Now his Sanmagatama's strength is only about 30% of Itachi's full strength. 3 Magatama requires so much quality when it comes to Mangekyo's initial use, which shows how hard Itachi had to play the second pillar. Ha 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 ha. Still, there is. Who? Chi Kong laughed wildly and shouted to force the king. He felt the changes in his physique, and Sharingan appeared automatically, looking at everyone with scarlet blood pupils. I'm not targeting anyone, I'm saying that everyone here is rubbish. Everyone's face turned dark. Mu hammer. 3 swordsman style. Sword back tiger hunting. Rubber partner punch. Batang iron fist. Fried meat bald kick. Dumb. The peck of betrayal. I fight. I fight. After a beating and kicking, Chi Kong was engulfed in smoke. At this time, Usopp took out the slingshot. Must kill rotten egg star. Phew. What's this? Everyone suddenly stopped, revealing a bald man with a bruised nose and face, looking at Usopp with a sticky look. Usopp, what are you doing? ×5. In the end, Usopp and Chi Kong both collapsed to the ground. Nami began to count Chi Kang's belongings. According to Chi Kang's conditions, all his personal assets will be confiscated and I will distribute them later. Is that okay? Everyone kept nodding, confident. Nami picked up Chi Kang's hand and began to press fingerprints. Amid everyone's laughter, Laboon started to hit the mountain again not long after he woke up. At this time, Luffy looked at Laboon with firm eyes. Let's duel. Laboon. Laboon's teary eyes seemed to be saying, we just finished fishing, and now we have to fight again, are you human? Mr. Nine on the side looked at Ms. Wednesday and bit his ear. Ms. Wednesday, what are you doing? Should we run away? The fighting power of these people is a bit abnormal. Vivi wiped her nosebleed fist. For some reason, she couldn't help but beat Chi Kong. Seeing that no one was pursuing her, she was relieved. Why did she feel so confused as soon as she got on the boat? She bit her lip and looked at the unconscious Chi Kong. Although she had many things to ask this guy, Mr. Nine was still around, so the timing seemed wrong. Forget it. Let's run away first. Vivi touched her body and found that an important thing was missing. Hey, where is my permanent pointer? As a result, Vivi saw a pointer in Nami's hand. Please, take us with you. For the sake of our friendship while fishing together. Seeing Mr. Nine and Ms. Wednesday kneel down, Usopp immediately jumped out and refused. What a beautiful idea, you wanted to kill Laboon before. Usopp was very resistant to inexplicable people boarding the ship, mainly because of his timidity. By the way, who are you? Faced with Usopp's question, the man wearing the crown crookedly replied seriously, actually, I am a prince. You lied. Usopp pointed at himself, holding a fake pipe in his mouth and said deeply. I'm the famous detective Usopp. I've been through more than 800 cases, big and small, without dying. If you say you're not lying, I can tell right away. Mr. Nine didn't expect that his lie was immediately revealed. The word, shock, was written all over his face. Vivi on the side covered her face in embarrassment, her teammate was dead. She didn't even dare to say that she was a princess. I have to say that Mr. Nine's level of bragging is on par with Usopp's. Even Usopp didn't believe there was such a crotch-pulling prince, let alone anyone else. The two of them continued to fall on the ground, crying with tears streaming down their faces. In short, our identities cannot be revealed. If we do, we will die. We don't want to do such a sneaky thing, but the company has regulations and we must perform the task. Vivi is in pain. She clearly knows that what Nami holds is her own pointer. However, that is the pointer to Whiskey Mountain. They still have a chance to take revenge. They just need to be conceited. For the sake of her country, it is not impossible to kill the guy who knows her secret. Zoro began to draw his knife and threatened. Don't say anything, or will you kill me? I always feel that their code names are very familiar and they are bad things. Vivi and both shed cold sweat instantly. What are you talking about, green algae head? How can you do something to lady? At this time, Sanji appeared dragging the tray and kicked Zoro's knife. The two got into a fight, and Zoro was defeated. Sanji walked around to the two of them and handed a glass of ice blue juice to Vivi. Beautiful lady, your beauty is as fascinating as the sea. This is the sea blue love I specially prepared for you. Let's agree to watch the moon at midnight. Vivi took the juice with a confused look on her face. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, Mr. Nine pointed to himself and then to the orange juice on the tray. He was also very thirsty. Sanji's face changed instantly, he raised his foot and turned into a big fang. Go to hell. Stinky frog, you are a prisoner now. Then, Sanji walked around in circles and came to Nami. This is for my dear Miss Nami, orange summer, hot as fire. This drink is as hot as my heart. Vivi was dumbfounded by the speed with which Sanji changed his face. Whale fishing is amazing. The captain is also challenging island whales. AB ******** D thief, a braggart, a murderer, and finally a perverted waiter who changes his face very quickly. What kind of people are these? Nami took a sip of juice, pointed at the pig's head, and asked, do you recognize this bald man? The two shook their heads vigorously. Then what did he mean just now? Why did you agree to help him when he said, Naife? We were obviously enemies just now. Nami finished speaking and looked at Vivi. It's Neferutari. Oops, Vivi said unconsciously. Why do I feel like my IQ will drop after coming here? Others also looked at the blue-haired girl with interest, while Vivi looked at Mr. Nine nervously. What's wrong with this name? Mr. Nine said, why are you looking at me? Vivi found that this guy didn't seem to know anything, but he kept silent. At this time, Luffy's voice came. We're tied. Luffy looked wasteful and said to Laboon with a smile. I'm very strong, but you and I can't decide the winner, so we still have to fight. We will come back to see you after we make a complete detour from the Grand Line. Luffy smiled and said, let's fight again then. Then, he used a brush to draw a straw hat pirate flag on Laboon's scarred forehead, the same style as the abstract art, titled, Battle Promise. Luffy healed Laboon in his own way. After Luffy comes back, Zoro pointed at the two of them and asked Luffy, what do you mean? Did these people throw it away? When they heard that they were going to be driven away, the two of them fell to the ground. Please, Brother Straw Hat, you look like a good person. Vivi's flattery is not finished yet. No problem, let's get on the boat. Luffy immediately decided to keep the two of them. Zoro took 2 steps and then stepped back, as if he was not the one who wanted to lose them just now. Now that the captain has spoken, of course no one will object, and soon the group bid farewell to Laboon the whale. Chapter 65 Murder in the Night. The bright moon hangs high in the sky, casting its silver light into the quiet night. At this time, a cute crow flies over the Whiskey Mountain peak. Dum. In the small town, the lights were bright and there was laughter and laughter. More rice. The captain here has already eaten all the food for 20 people. The chef is exhausted. It's too late, but it's too soon. I shouted, not to attack my companions, and shot the slingshot to kill the snake-headed Poseidon. Then the Poseidon dropped a box of gold. Ha, too strong. This green-haired guy has won 10 consecutive games. Aha, the eldest sister here has already won 12 games, she is like a wine god. This guy actually courted 20 girls at the same time. Amidst the noise, Kang stretched and stood up, feeling that there were many more memories in his mind, which were about domineering. He began to carefully recall and read these memories. It seems that the Shadow Clone deal was successful. When Kang was still digesting the memory of Shadow Clone, Luffy patted him on the shoulder and said, Kang, you're finally awake. Nami can't wake you up no matter how hard she hits you. Come and join the party. Sanji on the side is surrounded by a group of charming beauties, with a pig-like look on his face. After he saw Kang wake up. Heart degree D degree. UB ********** D fishing guy, even snow and thunder can't wake you up. How on earth can you sleep? Even a pig can't sleep like you. After saying that, Sanji turned to face the beauty and transformed into Brother Pig again. Kang's head was full of black lines, and he felt inferior to Sanji's face-changing speed, which was comparable to Sichuan opera. There was nothing he could do about it because he was too sleepy. After catching Laboon, his chakra was exhausted, and his body needed to adapt and recover due to the excessive improvement in physical fitness. Deep sleep is the best way to recover, that's why I sleep for so long. Kang looked at the others and already knew what the plot was about now. You can eat and drink for free and you can also go ***re for free. Kang started eating without saying a word. After eating and drinking enough, feeling the abundant chakra, he threw the dark crow to Nami, leaving a clone and disappearing in place. At this time, Vivi named Mr. Nine and Ms. Wednesday were reporting the situation to the organization. They belong to an organization called Baroque Studio, which is full of bounty hunters. Ms. Let's write the report on Wednesday. Do you want me to help you write it? Don't say the wrong thing. Otherwise, you will die if you fail the mission. Don't worry Mr. Nine, although we failed in our mission, we managed to trick these people into coming to Whiskey Mountain. The merits and demerits are equal to each other. They should be fine. At this time, a meaningful voice sounded. Oh, what did you do to trick them here? Of course I stole the treasure and sold it for the reward. Vivi Kaido said without thinking. Who are you talking to? Ms. Wednesday. The two raised their heads and used the light to see clearly the figure in the shadow. It's the whale fisher. How is that possible? Aren't you still in the banquet hall? Mr. Nine looked at Kang in surprise. Kang walked out of the shadows step by step and came to the table. The three Magatama in his eyes rotated, and Mr. Nine froze in place. What did you do to Mr. Nine? Vivi took out her weapon, the peacock chain, and spun it around, attacking Chi Kong. Hey, where did you get the courage? Before Vivi could get close to Chi Kong, a tree suddenly grew out from under her feet, trapping her. At this time, Vivi found herself in a lush environment. What's going on? I can't move. Where is my weapon? Why is it missing? Chi Kong slowly approached and looked at Vivi with a wicked smile. He looked at her carefully for a while, and at the same time moved his hands up and down to measure Vivi's whole body. What are you going to do? You're a pervert. What are you going to do? You're a pervert. Why do you imitate me? Why do you imitate me? Boom. Chi Kong turned into Vivi's appearance and observed himself in Vivi's disbelieving pupils. How's it going? Does it look like it? Chi Kong smiled and began to introduce himself. I am Neferutari Vivi, the Princess of Alabasta. In order to investigate the person behind the country's civil strife, I joined Baroque Studio as an undercover agent, codename Ms. Wednesday. Hearing Chi Kong talking about himself in his own voice, Vivi's body kept shaking, with a look of disbelief on her face. How do you? You. Vivi wanted to ask her doubts, but her body was tightened by the trees and she immediately stuttered, becoming incoherent in shock. Chi Kong looked at Vivi with a wicked smile and threatened. I became you. Kill you. Replace you and kill your relatives. Empty your country. What do you think will happen? Hearing Chi Kang's words, Vivi was scared. This man is a devil. She opened her mouth to say something, but the branches had already wrapped around her neck. She stared at Chi Kong, her eyes choosing people to eat. Nice eyes. You treat my partner like this. If you don't take revenge, how can we be pirates in the future? Feeling the passage of life, Vivi looked unwilling. Thinking that everything you do will eventually come to nothing. She bit her lip to prevent herself from crying. She kept shouting in her heart. Run. I care him. Seeing Vivi's aggrieved look, Chi Kong was a little scared. Had he gone too far? Hey. Don't cry. After all, she's just a girl. I thought she was so strong. Chi Kong snapped his fingers, and all the scenes around Vivi disappeared. Breathing heavily, Vivi returned to the familiar room and realized that she had just been attacked by hypnosis. That rotating blood pupil can hypnosis her. A completely different hypnosis ability than her dancing. What on earth are you doing to my devastated country? Vivi grabbed Chi Kang's collar and asked sharply. Chi Kang's answer was, guess. These words can really make people angry. Chi Kong stretched out his hand and introduced himself. Let me get to know you again, Cool D. Chi Kong, a fishing guy who likes to reason. Of course, if the reasoning doesn't make sense, I also know a little bit about ninjutsu. As Luffy and the others fell asleep one by one, the fake mayor of this town, Mr. 8, breathed a sigh of relief and gently closed the door. It's finally over. Prickly Pear rocks dancing in the moonlight. You are still so beautiful tonight. The moonlight shines on the hillside behind the town, which is as undulating as a cactus. There are clearly tombstones, including those of pirates and travelers. Luffy never dreamed that the guy who invited him to dinner owned the Dragon Gate Inn. You are such a poet, Mr. 8. Ms. Vivi appeared quietly on Wednesday, but Mr. 9 next to her was not around. Where are they? Faced with Vivi's inquiry, Mr. 8 calmly said, Kaido, I have fallen into hell. At this time, a nun took off her disguise, revealing her exaggerated muscles. They are really a bunch of brats who can eat and drink well. Although they can barely drink tea instead of wine. She puzzled and said, but is it really necessary to be so welcoming? They are just a few brats. Wouldn't it be better to just deal with it at the port? This town is already short of food. Ignoring the muscular woman's words, Mr. 8 took out several wanted posters. Ms. Monday, let's take a look at this first. I have carefully investigated their details. Chapter 66 The Killer is Coming. The muscular woman named Ms. Monday took a deep breath after reading the reward notice and exclaimed. 25 million, 24 million, 20 million. This group of people is definitely a big fish at the entrance of this great route. Mr. 8 said calmly, it's really stupid to judge a pirate's strength by his appearance, but it's easy to solve. Ms. Monday suddenly frowned and said in confusion, this magic enchantress, we don't seem to have seen this person, right? Regarding this question, Mr. 8 pointed at Vivi. The people were tricked by Mr. 9 and Ms. on Wednesday. We have already investigated clearly. There are only so many people on this boat. 2 of them are not offering rewards, and 1 has not been found. In short, there are quite a few people here. At this time, a joking voice interrupted the conversation of the 4 people. I see, I remembered it. I said why your code name is so familiar. You are Baroque Studio. On the roof behind them, Zoro pulled out the newly bought knife, and the cold moonlight shone on the cold blade. What? Aren't you drunk? How do you know about our organization? Mr. 8 waved quietly and walked out of the surrounding buildings one by one. However, unlike the cheerful and hospitable appearance before, they now looked murderous. Facing the astonished people below, Zoro sneered at the corner of his mouth. As a swordsman, how can he be controlled by alcohol? Zoro stood up, drank the bottle of wine in his hand, and then said. I used to do the same job as you. Your Baroque studio wanted to recruit me, but of course I refused. Everyone here is a bounty hunter, right? Those fools who are so proud of themselves will be robbed as soon as they step into this place. Before Zoro finished speaking, Mr. 8's face darkened. It's shocking. Now that you know these secrets, you have no choice but to kill and silence them. It seems that there will be another tombstone on this cactus rock. Kill him. Following Mr. 8's order, the people below did not hold back anymore, and a hail of bullets flew towards Zoro. At this time, Vivi quietly approached Mr. 8 beside her and whispered a few words in his ear. The blonde curly-haired mayor was dripping with cold sweat. He suddenly lost his usual composure and quickly evacuated the scene following Vivi's footsteps. Not far from Whiskey Mountain, two men and women were quietly approaching the town. The man wore a brown trench coat and sunglasses covered half of his face, showing his mystery and coldness. The woman is dressed fashionably, wearing a unique hat and holding an umbrella. She is youthful and beautiful, and her movements show elegance and arrogance. These two people are senior agents of Baroque Company, Limited, Mr. 5, who has the ability to explode fruits, and Ms. Valentine, who has the ability to use light and heavy fruits. They were ordered by the organization to assassinate Ms. Wednesday and Mr. 8 because they learned that someone was openly investigating the boss behind the organization. They took out 2 photos and investigated the identities of the 2 targets. You won't know if you don't check, but you'll be shocked if you check. Their targets are none other than Vivi, the princess of Era Aston, and Ikaram, the part-time butler of the king's guards. The two walked across the road littered with bounty hunter corpses and walked straight towards Zoro. Mr. 5 looked at the muscular woman Ms. Monday with a bossy look on his face, and said calmly, "Where are Mr. 8 and Ms. Wednesday?" Ms. looked angry on Monday. She was sold. She was still counting the money. "I don't know. Those who were there just now suddenly disappeared." Mr. 5 frowned and said calmly, "Trash." As he said that, he shot a booger at Ms. Monday who fell to the ground to scare the monkeys. Boom. With a sound, the muscular woman's body was blackened, her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Zoro was stunned to see sweat dripping from his forehead. Nose, booger. At this time, a frightened Vivi appeared in front of Zoro. "Who are you? Come to me if something happens. Don't bring trouble to Caillou." Zoro on the side looked confused. "I've been hacking for a long time, why did you just show up? What do you mean by stopping in front of me?" Ms. Valentine had a meaningful smile on her lips and said fiercely, "Ha ha ha. Of course I will take your lives, the princess of Alabasta, your highness Vivi." Vivi's body kept shaking. "Please, no. Help." The two looked at Vivi with playful expressions, and this reaction made them very satisfied. "Stuck. Stop. Your expression is not vivid at all." A female voice came, and a girl with short orange hair and a crow on her head appeared in the shadows. Then, another identical spiritual girl with blue hair, Ms. Wednesday, appeared, and next to her was the mayor of the town with blonde curly hair, Mr. 8, who was actually Alabasta's kingdom guard, Ikaram. Nami sat on the wooden box as if no one else was around, pointed at the new agent, and said with a devilish look on his face. "You have also seen that your organization has discovered your identity. It seems that your situation is not optimistic." At this time, Mr. 8 no longer had the character of a poet, and begged Nami, "If you want money, there is money. There is money. Please, please take Vivi to Alabasta. When you meet our king, you will be given a lot of rewards." Ikaram has believed that his and Princess Vivi's identities have been exposed, and now he doesn't care whether they are enemies or not. Spending money to buy his life is the wisest thing. Even if they escape from Mr. 5 and Ms. Valentine, there are endless pursuers behind them. Mr. 4, Mr. 3, these top killers are not something they can deal with. Nami smiled evilly and snapped his fingers. "It doesn't matter if it's money or not, I mainly want to make friends with you. Then for 1 billion belly, my partner will send you back to Alabasta." Vivi was so frightened that she screamed and lost her voice. "Impossible. Do you know the situation in Alabasta? How can we have so much money?" Nami's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying that your life is not worth this money? If we don't take action, you will definitely die, Vivi." The two of them were communicating as if no one was around. Mr. 5 and Ms. Valentine on the side finally figured out the cause and effect. "I don't know why there are 2 megaseconds Wednesdays, just kill them all. Let's have one each for Ms. Valentine's Day." After King Bai finished speaking, he put his hand into his nostrils. "Then leave this Vivi to me. Hee hee." Ms. Valentine sneered and jumped up. Vivi next to Zoro pointed at the umbrella girl and said coquettishly, "Brother Zoro. I want this girl to be my rival. How about that?" After hearing this, Zoro blushed instantly. This time it was not Albaro, but it made Zoro even more embarrassed. "Give me some normality hole. Zoro's move was a friendly blade strike, knocking Chi Kong down. The moment Zoro landed, he cut open a piece of booger with his backhand and shouted shamelessly, "Disgusting. Disgusting. There are no normal people here." Liu Kai actually thinks of himself as a normal person. Chi Kong was forced to cancel the transformation and looked at the girl in the sky in trance. Because of this scene, Sanji and Brook must have been ecstatic. Ms. Valentine was shocked that this bald man had abilities similar to Mr. 2. But it doesn't matter, because she knows Chi Kong is going to die. 10,000 kilograms. Don't you wear leggings? Chi Kong asked lovingly. Ms. Valentine in the air was instantly filled with embarrassment and anger. She covered her skirt with shyness, wondering if the attack method of the fruit was developed wrongly. "Go to hell. You're such a pervert. You're a nymphomaniac. You're a crazy person. How do you know my name?" Chi Kong looked confused. Valentine's Day suddenly intensified, landed at high speed, and a huge crater appeared. Chapter 67 Megaseconds Valentine's Day and Mr. 5. Ms. Valentine looked at the deep pit and the bald head that was crushed into meat, and she was speechless for a while. So weak. You still want to take a job for hire. Where do you get the courage? As she said that, she looked towards Nami with cold eyes, but her eyes were empty. What's going on? Where are the people? Ms. Valentine jumped up and wanted to check the situation from high altitude, but she fell to the ground with a plop. What's going on? Why is my fruit power useless? Ms. looked confused on Valentine's Day and started wandering around. What the hell? Why can't I leave here? She finally got scared and found that no matter how hard she ran, she couldn't escape from this scary and eerie Whiskey Hill town. A mountain full of tombs, not a single living thing. This lonely and gloomy environment is too lethal for a girl. It began to drizzle, and she returned to the pit with an umbrella, shouting helplessly. Mr. 5, Mr. 8, Ms. Wednesday, money-obsessed girl, swordsman. Anyone can do it, come out. However, there are only echoes echoing in the valley, and the ones in the pit. Hey, where's that bald guy? Ms. Valentine looked towards the pit and found that Kang was no longer there. You finally G remembered me. I feel so unfulfilled with you like this. B D. Kang's voice appeared from the side, and he wanted to see when this idiot would find out. It's you, baldhead. Where did you get them? Until now, Ms. Valentine has not realized that she has fallen into the maze genjutsu, which means ghosts hitting the wall. However, due to the improvement in eye power, this genjutsu is extremely real. Kang looked at Ms. Valentine, with a strange smile on his face, and decided to give her a surprise. Kang suddenly appeared in front of Ms. Valentine and looked at each other affectionately. Genjutsu Sharingan. In the Valentine's Day scene, a bald head suddenly appears in front of you, and then jumps up. Try this. 50,000 kilograms. Bald head impact. After saying that, Kang bumped into Ms. Valentine. Ms.'s pupils suddenly shrank on Valentine's Day. Isn't this her ability to light and weight fruits? Has this bald head taken away my fruit ability? She gritted her teeth and raised her umbrella, and the tip of the umbrella turned into a sharp knife and stabbed Kang, who was running towards him. I will never let you go even if I die. Ms. wanted to kill everyone on Valentine's Day, but Kang tilted his body to avoid the sharp knife. With a boom, Kang landed next to the girl. After the explosion, Ms. Valentine found herself unscathed. She looked towards the direction where Kang landed. At this time, an impact rippled along Kang's landing point, the clouds collapsed, the entire Whiskey Mountain began to collapse, the earth was torn apart, and as magma gushes out, it became a sea of fire. The only safe place was less than 1 meter away from where Ms. Valentine stood. Ms.'s eyes bulged out on Valentine's Day. Her mouth opened wide, and she completely lost her image of a lady. Is this a power that a human can possess? Destroy an island with one blow. What kind of opponent am I fighting? Ms. On Valentine's Day, she collapsed on the ground and one of her straps fell off. She looked at life and death with a smile, feeling like she was going crazy. Kang looked at the hopeless Ms. Valentine and felt that he had played too much. Raise your head. Look directly at me. I still like you who are unruly and unruly. Ms. Valentine's Day looked at the bald head with a ball of light in her eyes. Kill me. Kang jumped down and sat next to Ms. Valentine. That's it. I just took a little action. Then let's have a chat. Answer me a few questions, and maybe I'll give you a treat. Name: Mikita. Age: 23. Kang carefully took notes and only had to take off his pants to confirm this information. Ms. Valentine's original name is Michita, born in West Blue, birthday on February 14, age 23, XF blood type, height 177 centimeters, Aquarius, bounty of 7.5 million berries. A big shot in a fashion magazine dreams of opening a chocolate shop, but it's too slow to make money as a model. In order to save money, he joins a Baroque studio. He likes to wear white lace underwear, and his measurements. Why are you asking so much? Are you kidding me? Forget it. You are the winner anyway. Michita sat directly on Kang, looking like she was letting him take whatever he wanted. She couldn't resist this guy. Ahem. This is a serious world. You will be banned if you do this. Banned. Michita still doesn't understand. At this moment, the world suddenly shattered like glass. When Michita came to her senses, she found herself sitting on Kang. How is this going? Michita was shocked. It was that terrifying bald head. She looked around. Wasn't Whiskey Mountain destroyed? Were the movie-level special effects just fake? Why are the eyes of the people around me so ambiguous? Michita was so ashamed that she quickly ran to the corner to hide her embarrassment, and asked Kang what happened with her eyes. Ms. Valentine's Day, what do you mean? Do you want to betray the organization? Why don't you kill this guy when you have the chance? Mr. 5 said dissatisfied. Faced with the question from her partner, Michita rolled her eyes slyly and said, Mr. 5, I am no match for the bald man. Mr. 5's face darkened, and he had been looking like he was in a state of shock since Valentine's Day. He would run around and scream at other times. Then he looked at each other affectionately and froze in place. Are you a liar? You deal with the others first. If you don't deal with them, I will report it to you. Mr. 5 warned. Kang waved his hand indifferently. Zoro changes opponents. Leave this guy to me, I will be useful. I will give you something good as compensation later. Kang wanted to experiment with Brother Bang's body parts to see if they could be used as raw materials for detonating talismans. After all, it would be too time-consuming to extract and produce using chakra. Zoro snorted coldly, put away his knife and sat down, looking at Kamui, who was looking at Ms. Valentine, who had no intention of fighting and was thinking about life. Mr. 5 opened his clothes unhurriedly. I am an explosive man who ate the explosive fruit. My whole body can explode. I will kill you with one blow. After saying that, Mr. 5 showed his arm and punched Chi Kong. However, looking at his speed, everyone shook his head. Chi Kong shook his head. These two people can only rely on their abilities to torture food, and their fighting power is not as good as that of a little painting girl who has no ability. Not to mention domineering, physical skills, etc. These two guys don't even have basic observation skills, except for the booger bombs that are still fresh in people's memory. Chi Kong teleported, pulled Mr. 5's head, and faced Sharingan. Sharingan turns. Genjutsu tree application technique. The trees quickly entangled Mr. 5. Ms. Valentine held an umbrella in her hand and quietly observed Chi Kong. This time she finally discovered Chi Kang's weirdness. His eyes can hypnosis. As this hypnosis, it's a bit like Ms. Golden Week's psychological suggestion. Damn it, no wonder his eyes made me dizzy. At this time, Mr. 5, who was carrying Genjutsu, had no idea and said with a disdainful smile, can this kind of thing trap me? Explode. Boom. After the smoke and dust cleared, Mr. 5 found that the trees were still restraining him. In the sight of everyone, Mr. 5 stayed where he was and kept shouting. Hug, hug, hug. Boring, so boring. These two people were too weak, which made him feel that it was all due to the strength of the heroes, without any manipulation. Chi Kong appeared from the tree, gave him a hug, and knocked Mr. 5 unconscious with a hand knife. Then the kunai in his hand was slashed, and Mr. 5's explosive hairstyle was directly cut off. Ms. Valentine covered her mouth and did not dare to make a sound. She touched her still hair and breathed a sigh of relief. Chi Kong, this pervert, actually shaved off all the hair on Mr. 5. Is this some kind of perverted hobby? Even if you are bald yourself, why should others be bald? Very scary. Chapter 68. It's decided, Alabasta. The psychological suggestion you used, right. Bald man. Michita, also known as Ms. Valentine, jumped out as if she had seen through your abilities, and started to make moves again. Zoro on the side looked at her disdainfully and put his hand on Hidao Yuan. Although he didn't want to kill the woman, he didn't mind intimidating him if he didn't know what was good. Chi Kong took the hair on Mr. 5's body and observed it carefully without raising his head. Kaido. So what? You still want to take action? It seems you are the only one. After saying that, Chi Kong started to bleed Mr. 5 again, and took out bottles and jars to collect blood. Michita swallowed her saliva when she saw this scene, feeling that Chi Kong was the devil. She gritted her teeth and wondered whether to take action. If they failed to complete the task, they would be hunted down by higher-level cadres sent by the organization. The guys Mikita was talking about were two animals, a vulture and a sea otter, an unlucky combination. A female vulture wearing sunglasses, codenamed Ms. Friday. A sea otter who was good at painting and wears cool sunglasses, codenamed Mr. 13. We must find a way to take Mr. 5 away, Michita thought to herself. Their target is Vivi, which has nothing to do with these two lunatics. As long as they complete the task of erasing the target, they still have a chance. But what should be done to prevent Mr. 5 from being killed by the bald head? Sore. Long. While Michita was thinking, Luffy ran out with a fierce look on his face. He just came out to pee and found an infuriating scene. Luffy, you don't need to help. Chi Kong and I are enough. Zoro waved to him, looking okay. I will never forgive you. Let's fight it out, Zoro. Nani, what nonsense are you talking about? Zoro thought he heard wrongly. What a shame. You actually killed all the townspeople who invited us to dinner so enthusiastically. You be asterisk 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 D who repays kindness with revenge. Luffy was furious at this time. Zoro knew what was going on and hurriedly explained. It's true that I chopped it, but listen to me, those people. And Luffy's arm suddenly lengthened, and he struck with a punch, showing no mercy at all. Whoosh. Zoro narrowly avoided it, and the wall behind him shattered. Zoro turned into fangs. Do you want to kill me, idiot? That's right. Go to hell. Boom. Luffy struck with another fist. Don't listen to what people say. Zoro put on his turban, knowing that Luffy was serious, and he was ready to take action seriously. Luffy stood up from the ruins and passively triggered the return of life. His big belly disappeared and his face was full of anger. Chi Kong teleported and quickly came to Nami to seek shelter. At this time, Nami's face was horribly dark. Hard. Her fist is hard. Boom. Boom. 2 sounds later, Luffy finally understood. He who is not a foodie is a good person. At this time, Ikarem's expression froze, and after looking around, he exclaimed, Ms. Valentine's Day and Mr. 5 are missing. Who is that? Luffy's head was full of questions and he had no idea at all. If you run away, just run away. If you show up again, just kill him. Zoro said coolly. Ikarem angrily asked Chi Kong and Zoro. They will not let Princess Vivi go. Why don't you keep her? Zoro and Chi Kang's faces turned dark, and they were about to teach Ikarem a lesson. Please be quiet. It's so noisy. Nami's fist became harder, and harder again. She threatened. Didn't you see I was talking about remuneration? I'm sorry. ×3. The 3 of them immediately lowered their presence and left the stage to the 2 women. After telling the current situation of Alabasta, Vivi bowed and said, "Our country is experiencing riots, so there is really no extra money. After you send me to Alabasta, I will ask my father to give you the reward we can afford. What do you think? No less than 10 million belly. Please, please send me back to Alabasta. I must save this country that is about to fall apart." Vivi begged. Luffy supported Vivi and shouted, "It's decided. Let's go to Alabasta. Send Vivi home." The captain spoke, and Nami stretched out her hand to shake Vivi's hand. "Then let's make the deal." It happened that the route they chose passed through Alabasta, and it felt like picking up money for free. Vivi and Ikaram were stunned on the sidelines. Is this decided? Why don't you ask about something else? For example, who is the enemy, what is the Baroque Working Society, etc. At this time, Kang emerged from the shadows and turned into Albero. He said calmly, "Did you forget to mention that Baroque's boss is one of the Shichibukai, Sand Crocodile, and a user with the Sand Fruit ability, Crocodile?" Vivi instantly turned into a horrified face. You are Kang. How do you know again?" Kang smiled. "Collecting intelligence is the basic skill of a ninja." Zoro said with great interest, "Shichibukai. He is actually the same opponent as Hawkeye. It's interesting." Luffy exclaimed. "Oh, I know them, I heard Kang said it." Nami looked desperate. "I don't want the reward, Vivi. Goodbye." No goodbye, we still have our own adventure." Hawkeye slashed Zoro and played the same, "Now tell her what kind of person their opponent is." "This is not a joke," Luffy said dissatisfied. "I am the captain. I have already decided." Nami stretched out his fist, but in the end he didn't swing it out. Vivi pointed at the unlucky duo and Kang, who was arrogantly posing for a pause, and said weakly, "Nami, it's too late for you to regret now, because you have been painted by them. You will be hunted endlessly like me." When Nami saw these two guys, he threw the Murkrow above his head and exclaimed, "Markrow. Use storm." Dumb. The dark crow flapped its wings, hesitated slightly, and sprayed out a fierce whirlwind. Unfortunately, the unlucky duo were very fast and nimbly dodged and ran away. Nami collapsed to the ground, his life was dark, and he said feebly, "I don't want it, why? Why are we being chased by the Shichibukai as soon as we arrive at the Grand Line?" Nami punched and kicked Kang while shouting, "It's all your fault, Kang. What a big deal. This is obviously a beheading deal. You know it, why do you say it? It's amazing to be able to transform, isn't it? You push me into the fire pit every day." Kang was beaten until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen and bald. He defended. "The Sand Crocodile does not necessarily pursue them personally, we just send them back." Nami let go of Kang, feeling that everyone except Usopp were fighting mad, she collapsed to the ground. It's over. I shouldn't have boarded your pirate ship. If." Nami began to think about it casually. Of course, even if she was afraid, she would follow her partner without hesitation in the end. "It's all my fault. If you don't mind, I still have 500,000 belly." Vivi bowed to Nami and apologized, and even took out all her savings. Kang's mouth twitched, feeling a little sorry for Nami. "Ahem, Nami, I'll try to make some detonating charms for you in the past few days. With the weather stick, you should be able to protect yourself." Nami pouted, stretched out his fingers and gestured, "I want 20. Kang put away Mr. Five's tissue and nodded fiercely. Yes, even if I don't fish, I have to do it for you." Okay. Originally, things like the detonating talisman were very energy consuming, requiring the chakra attribute to be converted, and the fire attribute chakra to be carefully sealed with the help of spells. However, now Kang just got some things that may replace the fire attribute chakra, and he just happened to experiment and develop them. After hearing Kang's promise, Nami shamelessly accepted Vivi's 500,000 Baileys. She seemed to regain her vitality and began to ask Vivi whether Crocodile was rich. Nami's idea is very simple. Since he can't resist, he can only enjoy it. Chapter 69 Set Sail, Alabasta. Princess Vivi, listen to me, I have a plan. At this time, Ikaram, dressed as a woman, suddenly appeared in front of everyone, and Zoro was so frightened that he almost struck him with the back of a knife. "Uncle, you and Kang have the same hobbies, ha ha ha." Kang looked excited, but he didn't expect someone with the same idea. Under everyone's disgusted looks, Ikaram explained, "Your information has passed through Baroque's internet, and the pursuers should be coming soon. In addition, Mr. Five was defeated in your hands, which makes it even more dangerous." Quote. "I decided to pretend to be Her Royal Highness and leave first. Princess Vivi will take the common route with you and divide the troops into 2 groups. This will be safer." Kang patted Ikaram in the form of the ant, and then formed a seal with his hands. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Boom. Then, under Ikaram's shocked eyes, Shadow Clone used the transformation technique to transform into Albero. "Let me, my clone, accompany you so that no one will worry. Princess Vivi, I'm leaving, please take care of yourself." After saying that, Ikaram had determination in his eyes. He had no choice but to entrust the princess to a group of guys who were even enemies not long ago. However, a simple person like Luffy is naturally able to easily win the trust of others. Seaside. Facing the boat carrying several dummies and Ikaram, it gradually moved away. "Ha ha ha, that uncle is really interesting." Luffy's smile remained unchanged. Vivi's face was full of tenderness, she nodded and said, "Well, I have always trusted him. Without Ikaram, I would have been unable to survive in this man-eating company. Luffy waved his hand. Then let's go. Boom. Just as a few people turned around, violent explosions were heard. When everyone turned around, what they saw was a sea of fire. Vivi bit her lip tightly, trying not to cry. Nami suddenly felt empathy and hugged this strong girl, patting and encouraging her constantly. Don't worry, Vivi, we will definitely send you to Alabasta. Nami said, while her eyes were fixed on Kong. Luffy also looked at Kong with a shocked face and asked, Hey. Kong, is your clone dead? Kong was sweating on his forehead, mainly because Nami's eyes were frightening, so he comforted him. Vivi, don't cry yet. Ikaram will be fine for sure. He has used Sharingan as a telescope and seen some situations. No enemies were found. Mr. 5 should have planted a bomb on his ship in advance. The bomb explosion area is in the sea. My clone should have blocked the bomb. Kang's words made Vivi slowly calm down and bowed to Kong to thank her. Kong also breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily there was no accident. Nami's eyes are really killing me. So, Luffy waved his hand. So, let's go. Target Alabasta. Zoro interrupted at an inappropriate time and reminded, where are the sexy cooks and Usopp? Luffy then realized that they were still sleeping. He ran back to the room and left a message. Well. I'll pick up Sanji and Usopp. Everyone, let's board the ship. Zoro pointed to the duck that had been there since the beginning and asked, why is there a duck on the boat? Was it abducted by the Dark Crow? The duck was playing happily with the Dark Crow and making happy calls. Vivi hugged this reachable duck, with a look of surprise on her face. Run fast. You didn't run. That's great. Quack. Dumb. After the merry set sail, Sanji and Usopp woke up. The two are still obsessed with everything Whiskey Peak. Zoro looked at Nami and Kong, who was playing with the explosive hair, and asked, so, can someone explain it? Boom. Nami finished explaining without hesitation. Vivi turns out to be a princess. No wonder I fell in love with you at first sight. Do you remember the promise we made to watch the moon together at midnight? Sanji was carrying a big bag with a crazy look on his face. We are going against the Shichibukai. I haven't woken up yet, right? Usopp hit the trick pole and pretended to be dead. For Usopp, the recent experience was too magical, and he felt that his previous bragging was still too conservative. Come to Vivi and choose a few sets of clothes. You have already paid the money. Each piece costs 5,000 belly, so you can't choose too many. Nami immediately started promoting his own store, and punched Luffy away who was trying to steal the oranges. Suddenly Kong threw a piece of paper overboard, and the paper suddenly burned up quickly. Boom. A violent explosion exploded with the piece of paper as its center. He said with a charred face, lousy succeeded. Mr. 5's organization can indeed make detonating talismans. It's just that the power and delay are not enough. Kong, are you crazy? ×5. One sword style blade strike. Jealousy shoot. Iron fist of love. Partner rubber gun. Must kill. Suddenly everyone looked at Usopp. How dare you, Usopp. In the end, Kong and Usopp collapsed to the ground. Vivi's head was full of black lines, and she felt that everyone had no sense of crisis at all. However, seeing this group of happy guys, she also smiled from the bottom of her heart. You guys seem to be enjoying yourself. This boat is really nice. Heart. At this time, a strange laughter rang out. Kang's ears twitched when he heard this sound. Who? Zoro and Sanji reacted the fastest. Enemy attack. Usopp sat up in shock and hid behind Luffy. Everyone looked towards the direction where the sound came from and found a beautiful woman sitting on the railing of the ship on the second floor. She looked beautiful under the moonlight. Her skin, which had been exposed to the sun for a long time, was wheat-colored. She wore a purple hat that matched her Merc Crow hairstyle. Her fingers were pressed against her cheek, revealing a pair of cold and mysterious black-blue eyes. Ms. All Sunday. Vivi shouted. Everyone looked at Vivi with confusion on their faces. Nami asked. Ms. All Sunday. Is it Baroque? Vivi calmed down and said. She is the partner of the boss Mr. Zero. We only know the identity of the boss because we followed her. And Nico Robin above disagrees. You think you can track me? That's what I did intentionally. When Luffy heard this, he clapped his hands. He understood. I see, you are a good person. Vivi calmed down, wondering how could such a guy let her follow him so easily. So my identity was also exposed by you, right? Ms. All Sunday. Luffy pouted. He understood again. So you are the bad guy. At this time, Luffy's sense of good and evil could not sense this kind of Nico Robin, who was both good and evil. Nami suddenly punched Luffy. She couldn't stand it anymore. Shut up. Luffy, why are you trying to establish your presence? Chapter 70 Robin breaks defense. Vivi then asked Nico Robin, what is your purpose? There was an elusive charm in Nico Robin's words, and he said lazily, who knows? I saw that you were serious and wanted to help you. Robin crossed her legs and looked quietly at Luffy. The captain is you, Monkey D. Luffy. Robin called out Luffy's name, took the hat away with his fruit power, and put it on his head. However, Luffy's hat suddenly flew onto the head of the still mysterious Miss Sunday, which made him angry. Ah, my hat, give me back my hat. Do you want to fight? I treat you as an enemy. Upon hearing this, Zoro and Usopp immediately made an attack posture, and their swords were at war with each other. Don't point such a dangerous thing at me. Suddenly arms sprouted from everyone's bodies, and Robin easily used his weird fruit power to sneak attack, knocking down 2 people and a perverted cook who didn't make a move. She continued. I didn't receive an order to fight you. I came here just to remind you that the next island. Before Robin could finish speaking, a bald head suddenly appeared in her field of vision. Nicole Robin. Miss Robin. Kong showed the same crazy face as Sanji, then turned to Luffy and said. Luffy, stop talking nonsense. Tie her up quickly. She is a good partner. These words made Robin and others confused. Robin tried to use the fruit's ability to deal with Kong, but with a crash, Kong turned into a puddle of water, and he was clearly a water body. This change made Robin's heart tighten, and an ominous premonition suddenly arose. Faced with the unexpected situation, Robin regretted a little and realized that he had too little information about this bald man. Just when she was thinking of retreating, the ocean below the melee suddenly surged. This was the water bomb launched by Kong. Kong rushed towards melee on a water fan bullet. Robin nimbly dodged the impact of the water flow. His skills were very good. But, water-style water whip, Kong grabbed the sea water in his hand and formed a physical water whip, which directly tied her tightly. Kong. I'm not bragging. Now when facing a person with abilities on the sea, even if Kizaru comes, he will have to take off his suit. Robin was eroded by the sea water and instantly became weak, moaning in pain. This painful sound immediately made a guy with curly eyebrows feel uncomfortable. A-hole. Damn you fisherman. What did you do to lady? Sanji was the first to recover and kicked Kong away. Sexy cook, you're looking for death. You forced me to do it. Kong got up and turned into Erida, chasing Sanji and beating him fiercely. The sudden joy caught others off guard. Zoro took back the knife, knowing that the crisis was over. Usopp raised his hand and asked, can someone explain to me what is going on now? His question is also everyone's question. Just kidnap the enemy. Do you want her to be a partner? Isn't this a human trafficker? Wait, everyone seems to have no problem. Luffy tilted his head and asked, hey, Kong, why do you want this woman as your partner? Kong sat on Sanji and explained. Nicole Robin, the child of the devil, an O'Hara survivor who had a bounty on her head when she was only 8 years old. She is the only historian who can read ancient texts. After saying that, Kong looked at Robin who was tied up tightly. After hearing this, Nico Robin looked in disbelief and trembled all over, which showed how intense her mental activity was at this moment. Who are you? Kong shook his fat body. Since you asked the question sincerely, I will tell you with great mercy. I am this sea. Boom. Speak humanly. Nami said angrily. Kong covered his bald head and said seriously, I am Cool D. Kong. I am a ninja who likes to reason and knows a little about fishing. I also know a little about intelligence collection. Are you D too? Robin seemed unable to believe it. As long as we uphold freedom, everyone can be D. Come on, Nico Robin. We are your partners. You have been wandering on the sea for a long time, right? Kong directly extended the invitation. Nicole Robin frowned, feeling that this person knew too much about her. Her concealed murderous intention was fleeting, but it was just a matter of people being cut off and others being treated like fish and meat. Before Nico Robin spoke, Luffy waved his hand and said in denial, I don't want it. This guy is Vivi's enemy, I don't want her as a partner. Vivi was moved by Luffy's resolute attitude, and Kong was stunned for a moment. As that's so, Kong touched his bald head and snapped his fingers, and the water whip that restrained Robin instantly dissipated. Then I don't want her as my partner. I'm going fishing. You continue. Just let it go. Robin looked in disbelief. Kong returned to the den, took out the special bait and started fishing. He had a good target. Big turtle, hey, hey, hey. Everyone's head was full of black lines. Kong was handsome for only 3 seconds. Luffy put on a straight face and said to Nico Robin seriously, give me the hat back. Don't make me beat you. Are you a child? Facing Luffy's bluster, the others were all in disbelief. In this atmosphere, the original solemn atmosphere disappeared, leaving only speechlessness. Nico Robin stood up with gritted teeth, flicked his straw hat and flew back to Luffy's head, throwing a permanent pointer over with him. I just wanted to say that the island in front is the little garden. Let me remind you that it is a small island where there is no return. If you use this, you can bypass the little garden and reach Alabasta directly. After Robin finished speaking, Usopp jumped out, don't believe what the enemy says. Luffy. Boom. With a crisp sound, Luffy crushed the permanent pointer. Usopp didn't expect Luffy to be so direct, and Nami's hair suddenly exploded and turned into a shark's mouth. You are an idiot. You can do some research. Why are you doing this? However, Luffy just looked at Robin angrily and said, I am the captain. You don't need to decide the direction of this ship. Nami's anger disappeared instantly and he sighed. Okay, who made you the captain? Robin stood up and said impatiently, it's up to you. If you're still alive, I'll see you later. As he spoke, Robin stepped on the top of the narrow fence and walked to the side of the boat, just about to jump off. Below, her turtle was caught by Kong. Give Binchi back to me. Robin snapped. Kong was struggling to lift the fishing rod, turned around and replied, wait a moment. It will be ready soon. Luffy and Usopp stood around for a moment, their eyes filled with excitement. What a big turtle. It's actually a turtle this time. You are so awesome. Kong. ×2. Nami slapped her forehead and pulled Vivi to sit at the concession stand. She was unable to complain anymore. She said to Sanji, who was looking around to admire the beauty, "Sanji, I want to drink juice." Sanji responded with a pig-like look on his face and rushed towards the kitchen. Zoro jumped down, went to the canteen, and took out 2 large bellies. "Nami, buy a bottle of wine. And a plate of peanuts." Everyone completely ignored this enemy who couldn't leave. At this time, Robin's face was ashen, and she felt that everyone on this ship was sick. She shouted to Chikon again, "Give Binky back to me." Kong finished fishing and retracted the fishing line while laughing wildly. To the improvement of forced appointment is how the physical fitness is accumulated. At this time, Sanji came over with an infatuated look and showed his courtesy to Robin. "Beautiful lady, although you are an enemy, drink a glass of fruit bar first. This is my special moonshine cocktail." Robin took the drink naturally, without even questioning it. She jumped down and rode the turtle away in dejection. She felt that she had broken her defense today. Are they a bunch of lunatics? Chapter 71 Information about Robin and Sand Crocodile. "Hey, Kong, are you familiar with that woman just now?" Zoro asked with his arms crossed. As for Kang's initiative to pull people on board, the only one other than Nami was this guy named Nico Robin. Zoro knows that this die-hard fisherman has a very strict code of conduct, and he must have his reasons for doing so, just like Nami, the navigator. Nico Robin was born in O'Hara, the archaeological island of West Blue. She was offered a bounty of 79 million when she was only 8 years old. She is the only survivor of O'Hara. She has the ability to bloom flowers and fruits. She can make any part of her body bloom like a flower on any tangible thing within sight. After Kong finished speaking, the entire ship fell into an eerie silence. 79 million times 4. Is it very powerful? I think her fruit ability is very interesting. Luffy's focus is always, let's not mention it. Isn't it possible? Kong, you must be lying. Wasn't that woman easily manipulated by you? Usopp said that Kong was bragging. Kong explained, that kind of reward is because she is a survivor of O'Hara and a historian who can understand the text of history. The world government has a special attitude towards her. Kong paused and showed a scary look. And, she is better at assassinations like me. Think about it, if she wants to kill us and her arms quietly appear on your body, what will happen? Quote. That's the case. No way. Sanji kept hugging his body like a pig, making everyone look stupid. However, Nami has passed. At this time, Luffy hammered his hand and said, "So, this woman is indeed a good person. No wonder I feel that she has no murderous intent. Is he a good person without sneak attacks?" Luffy's brain circuit. This statement made Nami dissatisfied, and she helped Vivi and said, "You shouldn't be a good person." She turned Vivi's country into this. Kong did not deny Nami and continued to speak. Maybe it wasn't her intention. Maybe she didn't want to help the evildoer, so she secretly helped Vivi in the hope that Vivi could stop Crocodile's conspiracy. Isn't it nice to see her like this? Kong asked. Vivi bit her lip and didn't know what to say. This kind of thing was possible, but she couldn't forgive it. Nami still refused to give up. Those are all speculations. Women's hearts are at the bottom of their hearts. You are still too young, Kong. Kong rolled his eyes at Nami and continued. Then let's think about it differently. Now Robin and her boss are inseparable. Because Crocodile's ambition is about to be realized, her value will be gone and she may die. She is looking for a way out, so she wants to help Vivi, and there is even a slight possibility that the boss will be defeated. Anyway, she has been in exile since she was 8 years old after being put on a bounty, and everyone around her has some plans for her. She and the people around her use each other, and betrayal and deception are too common for her. If you put it that way, she is indeed quite bad. After saying that, Kong looked at Nami with an expression that said you were satisfied. But Nami lowered her head after hearing this. Based on her own experience, she suddenly felt the same for Robin. I used to be struggling between good and evil until I met Luffy and the others. She also instantly understood Nico Robin's current plan, to make a fool of himself and drive away the tiger and devour the wolf. So is she a good person or a bad person? Luffy pouted with a constipated look on his face. Kong explained, it doesn't matter whether it's good or evil. Essentially, Nico Robin is just a poor person, an archaeologist who simply wants to dig up history, but that history is not allowed by the world government. Zoro looked at Nami, then at Kong. Idiot fishing guys don't know how to pity people, right? Nami has navigation skills. What does Nico Robin, a historian, have to do with One Piece? Kong coughed and said seriously, according to the information I obtained, the historical text is the key to becoming One Piece. Nico Robin is one of the people who understands this thing. After saying that, Kong looked at Luffy. Regarding One Piece, what was Luffy's reaction? Luffy's expression immediately changed when he heard the words, One Piece, and he pondered for a moment. Then the plan changes. Let's defeat her and the sand crocodile, and then tie her onto the boat. Everyone was shocked. They didn't find the problem with this logic. The human trafficker Luffy is so terrifying. Vivi's mouth opened wide. She had just heard the secret, and now this group of people wanted to help him defeat Crocodile. How long have we known each other? Are you so sincere? What virtue and ability do you have? She didn't know whether to jump out an object. Didn't we agree that we would only send Vivi home? Why do we do this? Usopp was the first to object. Nami, why don't you speak? Usopp looked at his best friend. But Nami did not object immediately, but fell silent. Seeing that Luffy had made a decision, Kong smiled slightly and said. Crocodile is very strong, but he can transform into elements. You can't even defeat Smoker. Are you sure, Luffy? After all, the war is 50-50, and it is said that the latest bounty 3 years later will be 1.9 billion. I wonder what kind of strength he is now. Luffy pressed his straw hat and said seriously. Nico Robin is Vivi's enemy. I can't invite her as my partner, but she is the key to me becoming One Piece. So we must defeat her and the crocodile first. We must solve these problems. Hear the answer in the affirmative. Zoro grinned and Sanji took a deep drag on his cigarette. Now that the captain has decided, so what about Shichibukai? In this case, we need to improve everyone's combat power. Sand Crocodile is a Logia fruit user. You can't hit him without Haki. Zoro. You mean domineering? Do you know it? Sanji looked confused. What is domineering? Luffy. Can I hit the cigarette man? Kong nodded vigorously. Teaching Haki tomorrow. Let's make an agreement first. The master will lead you in, and practice depends on yourself. Because I don't know how. I just asked others for advice. After hearing this, Zoro smiled crookedly and took a sip of wine. His recent depression was completely gone. Kong didn't know the specific strength of Sand Crocodile, but there was nothing wrong with improving the strength of his teammates. When I watched anime before, I always felt that Crocodile's defeat was inexplicable. It could only be attributed to him being beaten stupid by Whitebeard. Otherwise, a dry hand and laughter will kill GG. After everyone dispersed, Kong caught Luffy. Luffy, I have something to talk to you about alone, about the development of your fruit abilities. Luffy stayed behind with a confused look on his face. Because Robin can't be let go, Crocodile is now under a lot of pressure. Kong is ready to give Luffy a reminder. About second gear. When starting, use your hands and feet as pumps to speed up the blood flow and strengthen the body. In the second gear state, Luffy's speed is about the same as that of 6-style shave. This is a move unique to the Rubber Man. If an ordinary person can activate this move, his blood vessels will definitely rupture due to the pressure of blood pressure and lead to death. Its disadvantage is that before the physical fitness is insufficient, this is a life-consuming fighting method. Luffy, if you can. I don't want you to use it unless you have to. Chapter 72 Kong's Little Classroom. The first morning after Robin left. Everyone came to the restaurant and held a special meeting while enjoying the delicious food. Kong wants to teach Luffy about the 2 types of Haki, Armed Color and Wisdom Color. In this vast sea, Haki is divided into 3 categories, Armed Haki, Knowledge Haki and Conqueror's Haki. Kong first outlined the basic concept of Haki. Conquerors is domineering. The name sounds domineering. This is tailor-made for me. Usopp looked excited. Luffy also raised his fork and said with the same excitement, I don't care, I want to learn Conqueror's Haki. Usopp and Luffy started having fun. Kong tapped on the blackboard and looked at Nami for help, hoping that she could maintain order. Boom, boom, sorry, ×2. Luffy and Usopp apologized profusely. Kong continued to elaborate. Armed Haki is crucial to fight against those with Logia fruit abilities. Otherwise, you won't even be able to touch their bodies. Crocodile and Smoker are both Logia's devil fruits. You have also experienced Smoker's nausea. Zoro's face was gloomy, and he said anxiously, hurry up and get to the point. I know all this. Kong was interrupted by Zoro again, just when Nami was about to take action. Miss Nami, leave this green algae head to me. Sanji was one step ahead of Nami and kicked out. What are you doing, sexy Kappa? I've wanted to beat you up, green algae head. If you have the guts, you can become a woman too. Boom, boom. Nami loosened his smoking fist and said angrily, please pay attention to the discipline, who is disturbing Kong. We will charge for small classes in the future. These words silenced everyone immediately, and Vivi saw Nami's intimidating power for the first time, so she suppressed what she originally wanted to say. Is this what Kong said about Conqueror's domineering spirit? Kong gave the class representative a thumbs up and continued. Armed colors also have different usage techniques, which can be divided into 4 types: hardening, winding, external release, and internal destruction. The first is hardening. After hardening, it can cause damage to Logia and those with special fruit abilities. If it is entangled, attaching armed color Haki to fists or weapons to attack can increase the defense and attack power. Everyone's eyes turned to Nami invariably. This guy must have the potential to be armed and domineering. When Luffy clapped his hands, he understood again and exclaimed, that's it. No wonder Grandpa and Nami's fists can cause harm to me. Kong also nodded quietly. His transformation technique was broken by Nami with one blow. It was very unscientific. The so-called armed domineering energy is a kind of energy born from the combination of belief and physical fitness. The person who taught me the original words was, this is derived from the most original soul belief and the purest life force. After repeating Kuroka's words, Kong raised his fist, and the energy of blue chakra covered his fist, turning on the giant power mode. Pay attention. This is the energy in my body. Theoretically speaking, chakra is also a kind of energy that includes spirit and body. Can you feel anything? Luffy's eyes lit up and he was about to speak. Shut up, Luffy. You can't become a ninja even if you learn Haki. I'm unique. Kang knew what Luffy was thinking and directly interrupted his thoughts. I've finished talking about armed color Haki. I don't know the details, but I believe you must have an idea. Cut. Times 4. Luffy and others looked disgusted. Kang gave several people free time to discuss. Sanji took a puff of the cigarette, closed his eyes and felt it, then said, I can't feel any energy at all. Zoro thought thoughtfully and murmured, physical strength plus one's own will, the combination of the two is domineering. It's quite different from what the fishing guy originally said. Zoro expressed what he had realized. Luffy ate his food and looked at Zoro in shock. Ah, Zoro, have you learned it yet? Why can't I understand anything? Zoro raised his hands and explained, my physical fitness must not be up to standard. As long as I exercise and cooperate with my will, I will definitely have domineering power. Zoro is simple and crude. He lifts the dumbbell next to him and starts exercising. It's just, does time really come in such a hurry? Zoro suddenly said what many people were thinking. Vivi sighed, feeling very depressed. Even Zoro said this, how could he understand the weapon color in a short time? That means if we can't learn domineering, we won't be able to defeat the sand crocodile, right? Vivi asked. Kang shook his finger and explained. Don't look like that, Princess Vivi. Even if you don't master Haki, it's still possible to defeat Lao Sha. Nami asked. Didn't you say that without armed Haki, you can't hit the body of a Logia user? If you don't master it, how can you defeat the sand crocodile? Nami meant that Kang's words were contradictory. Kang explained. All things in the world are in conflict with each other. Sand is afraid of water, smoke is afraid of fire, thunder and lightning are afraid of rubber, etc. If you let crocodile get wet, you can hit it. He missed one thing, the nightmare of all ability users, Halu Stone. Sea floor stone can indeed do Lao Sha, but it is a controlled substance. With Lao Sha's ruthless physique, how to get high purity sea floor stone is a problem, and how to process such a thing that is as hard as diamond. Is this really okay? Vivi didn't seem to believe it. Kang nodded affirmatively. It's absolutely true. So even if you can't learn domineering, you still have a chance. Nami and Usopp have regained their glory, just as Kang said so. What Kang didn't say was that the premise was that it was Lao Sha under normal circumstances. Oda knows a lot about pirates, but I'm afraid of being tricked by him. There's nothing wrong with crocodile. That's right, that's right. It's best not to mess with our straw hat pirates. Nami and Usopp sang together, acting like good best friends. Nami. Then I'll be a navigator and leave the battle to you. Usopp. I think snipers don't need this kind of thing, so I will develop a sure kill water ball star. Kang saw that Nami and Usopp were not interested in armed colors, and then said. We've finished talking about the armed color, and then there's the seeing and hearing color. This is amazing. It's a perceptual ability. It is said that after cultivating to the highest level, one can not only sense attacks and the breath of living things, but can even see into the inner world of others, and even. Kang suddenly paused and gave up. Even what? These words made Nami and Usopp instantly interested. This is what they need. You can even predict the future. This characteristic revealed by Kang made everyone present stunned. Foresee the future. Everyone said in unison, with shock written all over their faces, and Pele even appeared in Nami's eyes. Kang saw everyone looking at him and coughed twice. What do you mean? There is no strict entry threshold for seeing and hearing Haki. You can train directly. I want to learn. Times 6. Quack. Dumb. Everyone was enthusiastic. Kang showed a sly smile, raised his hands, and sneered. Are you sure you want to learn? I have already conceived a training method. Everyone's eyes were bright, looking forward to the next training. Kang raised his hands and sneered. How many floors can a bag of rice carry? Chapter 73, a crash course in seeing and hearing S**X. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Everyone came to the deck, and Kang's domineering little class continued. However, everyone was somewhat conflicted about Kang's last words. What on earth was he going to do? Because our energy is limited, we will divide into groups first. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, your team. Vivi, Nami, Usopp, please wait a moment. The three most powerful members of the Straw Hats appeared on the deck, looking at Kang warily. Kang Sharingan appears, the three Magatama spins quickly, and the Yin attribute chakra quickly transforms. This is a visual genjutsu, don't use your will to resist. Otherwise you'll have to cover your eyes. As he clasped his hands together, he shouted in a low voice, Magic Darkness Art. As genjutsu was released, absolute darkness instantly enveloped the three of them. Luffy. Ninjutsu. This is ninjutsu again. So awesome. Kang is so awesome. Sanji. What's going on? Kang, what are you doing? Zoro. This feeling. Are you trying to make us blind? Usopp. Nami and Vivi looked at each other. Why are they okay? The jutsu of darkness is a high-range genjutsu. The larger the range used, the greater the amount of chakra invested. This is a genjutsu that causes visual hallucinations and takes away all light. As I said, seeing, hearing, and color is simply a kind of perception. So don't look at the world with your eyes. As long as you feel it, you can practice it on your own. After saying that, Kang waved his right hand and 3 shurikens appeared. Down below, prepare to feel the pain. Whoosh whoosh. The shurikens were fired at the 3 of them. Luffy and the other 3 in his field of vision easily dodged the shurikens. Luffy. It's so dangerous. Kang, please tell me something. Zoro. This kind of attack can only rely on your ears. Sanji. I'm faster than you, green algae head. Kang showed a devilish smile. Oh, not bad, but it's not over yet. Kang waved his hand and threw the shuriken to the 3 guys watching the show next to him. Come on, let's play together. Opportunities like this don't happen often. The 3 of them took the shurikens. Vivi was still a little embarrassed, but Nami and Usopp already showed evil smiles. One person has 10 shurikens. Once you use them, they will be gone. Don't throw them into the sea. I don't have many. Kang said distressedly. Nami saw Kang's stingy look and said disdainfully, look at how stingy you are. Come on, Vivi, follow me. After saying that, he pulled Vivi towards the canteen. When the 2 came out, one of them took a toolbox with the words, Shuriken, 2000 Bailey's tool, written on the box. When Kang and Usopp saw this scene, they remembered the past and shed tears of humiliation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Constant sound of breaking through the air came. 3 truths and 1 falsehood. Kang's shuriken is the most powerful, but the others are not accurate and powerful. But they did have fun. Why so many? Times 3. Luffy and the 3 of them were jumping up and down, and they were all breaking into a cold sweat without even realizing it. Oh, it's so dangerous. Luffy was having more and more difficulty hiding, as if the shurikens were coming from all directions. Do you want to kill someone? Slow down. Slow down. Zoro turned into shark teeth and roared, and tiny scratches began to appear on his face and body. Miss Nami. This must have been cast by Nami. This blood symbolizes my undying love. Sanji pulled out the shuriken stuck in his chest with a look of infatuation. No, I'm sorry Sanji, I threw this. I'm sorry. Vivi apologized quickly. It's Miss Vivi. It's okay. I think it's okay. Come on. Let this love come more intensely. After several rounds of output. Crazy. Crazy. Such a dangerous game. Can you find a doctor and play it again? Zoro said rationally. Usopp was out of breath. I'm so tired. Why can they hide so well? I don't accept it. I'm a sniper. Soon after, all 7 of them were lying on the ground paralyzed from exhaustion. The combat team had many shurikens inserted into their bodies, and they were constantly bleeding. The mascot team is tired of playing. In the end, both sides had fun. One was focusing on the hit rate in the game, and the other was really trying to save their lives. There are too few entertainment projects on the sea, and it is rare to have an opportunity to play wildly. Tired of hiding and tired of throwing, Kang is even more tired of maintaining genjutsu. However, training also has an effect. Luffy and others have been able to distinguish which is Kang's attack and which is the mascot's attack. This feeling is very strange, as if I know it. This is an absolute intuition, although it sometimes works. As long as you dodge Kang's weird shuriken, it won't be a big deal even if the attacks of the other 3 hit him occasionally. In this case, it is most likely that you are getting started. Vivi propped herself up, picked up the medical kit, blushed and said, let me bandage you. She felt freedom and happiness that she hadn't had in a long time, but she was a little embarrassed, knowing that she was an outsider, yet she was playing so unscrupulously. Nami gasped and said, Sanji, I'm so thirsty and want a drink. I'm so hungry. Sanji, Luffy said weakly. Sanji opened his eyes instantly, and an unscientific carp hit him. The shuriken fell to the ground with a splash. He lit up the cigarette coolly and said with a sip of blood, I'm going to prepare a cup of special juice for Miss Nami and Miss Vivi. I'll prepare lunch by the way. Vivi covered her mouth and exclaimed, is Sanji-kun really okay? Usopp raised his hand and said weakly, we won't be swapping roles this afternoon, right? Almost. How was it? Isn't my crash course in erotica great? Kaido. When the 3 of them heard this, their faces turned pale with fright. If they can vote and let them take it, isn't this asking for death? Luffy and Zoro sat up with eager faces. Usopp quickly took a few steps back and exclaimed, I have a disease that kills me when I see a shuriken. Nami didn't know where the strength came from, and punched Kang out of his body. Stop joking. There's no way Vivi and I can participate in such a dangerous game. Usopp was stunned. Why don't you take me with you? Let's play with me in the afternoon. Afternoon. Will this kind of benefit really be given to me? Sanji, who was wrapped in bandages, looked excited. At this time, Nami and Vivi put on bikinis and cool gauze clothes. Opposite them was Sanji, who looked crazy. Sanji holds water balloons in his hands. His task is to hit the 2 women with the water balloons. The water balloons will outline the graceful figures of the women. Kang rolled his eyes at Sanji and said, I'll play a genjutsu this afternoon. I still have a lot of things to do. But you, an old pervert, won't be too harsh. After hearing this, Vivi looked shy. Sanji, if you hurt me, you will die Sanji. Nami also risked her life for the sake of S***X. Sanji kept nodding and promised with loving eyes, I will definitely be gentle. Suddenly Sanji turned his head, exhaling hot air from his nose, and changed his face and said, no. If you go too slowly, they will escape. You have to be serious, Sanji. This is the training of seeing, hearing, and seeing. Sanji's change of expression made Zoro and Luffy laugh at this speed. He kept rolling while holding his stomach. At this time, Usopp asked weakly, why are my sparring partners Dark Crow and Fast Runner? They also use physical attacks. Well, because if it were Luffy and Zoro, I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to handle it. Chi Kong explained without looking back. Usopp thinks what Chi Kong said makes sense, but in this way, the training of seeing, hearing and S*X was carried out amidst laughter and laughter. Ah, Sanji, damn it, heart, Nami, Miss Vivi, so beautiful, oh ho. In stark contrast to that side is Usopp. At this time, Usopp was jumping up and down. Hey, it hurts. Has it started yet? Ah, Dark Crow, I am Usopp, your good friend. Gah, it was me just now. Dumb. I like sneak attacks the most. Chapter 74 Small Garden. Why don't you train Chi Kong? We are the only ones injured. Usopp asked in pain with his head full of bruises. These days were really his nightmare. Forget about arm skills, Chi Kong didn't even train in sight skills, which puzzled him. After hearing Usopp's unwilling words, Chi Kong spread his hands and said with a smile. The chakra characteristics of the ninja strengthen the perception. My system is somewhat different from yours. You can understand that I already know it. It's not that Chi Kong doesn't want to train, he found that chakra's characteristics and domineering power require both mental and physical strength. The two are very similar, and if you focus on one, you will lose the other. Chakra was the basis of his entire system, so he didn't learn it. Of course, whether chakra can achieve the domineering effect needs to be fully understood by teammates before comparative experiments can be conducted. Once you get started, you can train yourself in life. Now Nami and Vivi mastered it very slowly under the gentle offensive of Sanji. At this time, Zoro's words came from the watchtower, the small garden has arrived. What the woman named Nico Robin said, do you still remember? Nami was very happy when she saw the pointer pointing steadily to the island. When she heard Zoro's words, she instantly said with a look of despair, little garden. It's an island where you can never return. Right. I'm sorry, everyone, it's all because of me. Seeing Nami like this, Vivi looked apologetic. Nami just did it, fearing that Vivi would blame herself too much, so she quickly stood up and comforted. It's okay Vivi, our knowledge and skills are not in vain. And if there is any difficulty, aren't there them? After saying that, Nami pointed to the other living treasures, especially Luffy and Chi Kong, who seemed very excited. Hey, little garden. Luffy was always optimistic and had no idea what he was going to face. Chi Kong swung his fishing rod and was packing special bait. He had saved more than 30 baits just for today's enjoyment. The small garden is not worthy of its name, it is not small at all, and it does not look like a garden. The melee sailed into the waterway in the small garden. I saw dense rainforest all around, and from time to time there were loud calls of birds in the air. What was it just now? A bird? Nami asked in panic. Suddenly a strange animal with wings and a lizard-like appearance flew over. It's a flying lizard, Sanji answered affirmatively. He didn't know why but he just felt it. At this time, a huge king of beasts emerged from the rainforest. He fell down in the next second. I have a disease that prevents me from going to the island. Usopp's old illness recurred, his face turned pale, his feet were trembling, and he really felt like he was suffering from an illness. How about we just wait on the ship for the record pointer to be full? Nami suggested. But, seeing this scene, Luffy became even more interested. Sanji, give me a pirate lunch. Luffy shouted to Sanji. I know, wait a minute. Sanji turned to the kitchen to prepare. At this time, Vivi suddenly said, wait a minute, can I go too? She also wanted to relax and experience the feeling of adventure. Hey, Vivi, are you crazy? It's too dangerous. You are a princess, Nami said worriedly. Faced with Nami's worries, Vivi pointed to the horse next to her and said, run fast. It doesn't matter, running fast will protect me. Zoro on the side looked at the duck, his head covered with black threads. Is your duck already too frightened to quack? Of course Luffy was happy to have someone to take risks with, and he shook his arms happily. Okay, come on, together. Then let me prepare a love lunch for Miss Vivi. Sanji looked loving, completely different from how he treated Luffy. Well, thank you Sanji-kun, please prepare some juice for me. Together with everyone, Vivi is happy from the bottom of her heart. If it were not for the country, she really hopes to stay like this forever. Zoro stood up and cracked his neck. He remembered the 2 days of special training and was ready to try the effect of S*X training. So he said. Then I will go for a walk, and you will be responsible for watching the boat. Swordsman who is crazy about the road, just take a walk. If you get lost, remember to make some noise. Chi Kang's voice came from the top of the watchtower. He was looking for the legendary fishing spot at this time. Hearing Chi Kang's sarcastic words, Zoro blushed and argued. You fart, idiot fishing guy, how could I get lost? I will definitely walk back to show you. When Sanji faced Zoro who was about to leave, he said too much, bring some food back by the way. For these combatants, large beasts such as lions and tigers are standard ingredients. Zoro snorted, Kaido, okay, I will bring back some prey that you can't handle. Facing Zoro's casual words, Sanji raised his eyebrows and jumped off the melee. Sanji, I can't pretend not to hear what you said. Can you get a bigger prey than me? Zoro, of course, Sanji, what do you mean? B asterisk 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 D green algae head. Zoro. Am I wrong? There is no bounty for the curly-browed lecherous chef. Sanji. Then let's have a hunting contest. Zoro. I couldn't have asked for it more. The two of them cursed and argued as they walked away. In the blink of an eye, everyone on the melee seemed to have almost left. Usopp was speechless and waved his hand. Forget it, luckily we still have Kang. So, the two of them looked towards the observation tower. However, Kang jumped down and said, I've determined that great fishing spot. No, Kang, we want to watch the boat together. ×2. Usopp and Nami held Kang's legs, one on the left and the other on the right. Kang, who wanted to leave, couldn't drag him away no matter how hard he tried, and his mouth couldn't help but twitch. I'll just send a clone. Go play. Be good. Boom. A shadow clone appears. Usopp and Nami still shook their heads, but having their clones with them was better than not. You guys give me some exercise. How do you grow up like this? Kang hated that iron could not become steel, so he snapped his fingers. Bang! The clone transformed into Albaro, and then lay down on the spot, falling into a sluggish state. This is the standby mode of Shadow Clone. This mode can stabilize the restless chakra body and make the clone last longer. It's up to you. It's not necessarily safe on the ship. If there's a problem that can't be solved, shout to the clone. Bald Kang is also cool. Remember, be sure to shout. This is a spell. After saying that, he ran away with a teleportation technique, leaving no chance for the two of them to stay. A gust of wind blew by, causing the two of them to tremble. How come both of us are like this? No one considers us, Nami said sadly. Nami, I understand why you treat us as a group of perverts like them. Facing Usopp's comfort, Nami just moved closer to Albira with a look of disgust on her face. Usopp replied, you are so unreliable. Nami Sharktooth. That's my line. The sense of security that Usopp gives her is not as good as the weather. She is nothing but flesh. Chapter 75 The Giant and the Little Garden. Kang ran all the way downstream along the river. The purpose of his trip was to eat the island goldfish. The island-eating goldfish is an ancient creature that lived on the Great Sea Route and has an extremely strong appetite. It often swims in the sea near small gardens, and its size can even feed on islands. The Laboon guy was picked up by him because of the sedative. This thing was many times bigger than the Laboon, and even the feces it pulled out were as huge as the island. Even if two giants are added, it may not be possible to catch it. Therefore, Kang just wants to be hooked, and does not expect to be able to catch it. Let's bet on luck. If one accidentally catches the golden legend, and if it accidentally falls asleep, he may directly open the Mangekyo. In this case, crocodile, oh no, Lausha. Have you ever heard of the eternal flame, Amaterasu? Or, whether you want to play, Tsukuyomi, or not, even if you solve it in seconds, I will FK you in 1 second for 3 days and 3 nights. Kang was having S*X when suddenly a huge thing came into view. Damn it, this is a dinosaur. Kang, as a talented young man in the 21st century, couldn't help but swear when he saw the dinosaurs. Experiencing it in person is completely different from watching blockbusters like Jurassic Park on TV. Kang looked at the Triceratops in front of him and suddenly had an idea. By the way, is it possible to catch dinosaurs in the sea? What's the name of a dragon? Great weather, hurricane. Must kill fire star. After Kang left, the two best friends faced the birds, fish and insects, and their legs kept shaking. Little Garden. I always feel like I've seen this name somewhere before. Nami quickly returned to the canteen to check the bookshelf. Although Usopp was also trembling, he still reminded, hey, Nami. Where are you going? Be serious, we have to protect Mary. This is what Kaya gave us. Not long after, Nami screamed and an adventure journal beside her fell to the ground, and she finally discovered the truth about the small garden. It's bad, Usopp. This island. Wow. Just as the two best friends looked at each other, the jungle next to Melee suddenly opened to both sides, revealing a giant man wearing a Viking helmet with a flying face. What a giant. Help. Nami and Usopp, who were left behind to guard the ship, were stunned and didn't know what to do for a moment. The giant drooled and smiled. Do you have any wine? Although this person's tone was very gentle, the drooling look scared the two weaklings so much that they dared not move. Nami responded instinctively. If it's a small amount, yes. The giant had a dazzling smile on his face. Really? Is there any? Suddenly the giant roared, and the ferocious appearance made the two weaklings lie down on the spot, then rolled their eyes and fainted next to Direbelow, starting to pretend to be dead. The giant killed the dinosaur that was biting his butt, and said with a smile, you have the meat, why don't you come to my house as a guest? I will exchange the meat for you for wine, ha ha ha. The giant was still expecting a response from the 3 men on board. But there was no response for a long time, full of questions. The giant scratched his head and looked at the 3 people on the ground pretending to be dead in confusion. Usopp. Don't make a sound, just lie down and don't move. Nami couldn't help but complain in a low voice. Nonsense, of course I know. Why doesn't this guy leave? Usopp then suggested. Nami, do you want to wake up Kang? Will Melee be destroyed? Nami retorted while trembling. Hurry up and scream. I don't dare. In the end, the 3 of them were gently caught and wrapped in the wine barrel in Kokoyasi's oranges. My name is Baratie. It's baked, let's eat it. The giant enthusiastically handed the pieces of meat to Nami and Usopp, and drank a glass of wine. Here's the deal. Of course for them it was a cup, for Nami it was Zoro's 500,000 belly. However, at this time, Nami did not dare to accept money at all, and she had no appetite for meat. Usopp whispered. Hey, Nami, have you seen those bones next to you? Nami burst into tears and responded softly, of course I saw it. Eat it, the dinosaur barbecue is delicious. Baratie urged again and again. This giant must be trying to fatten us up. We're still young, maybe it's the right time to eat. Not long after, Nami summoned up the courage to ask. Mr. Baratie, how long will it take for the island to be filled with records? Baratie laughed loudly when he heard this, and gave a desperate answer, it's only 1 year. Facing the giant's serious answer, Nami and Usopp burst into tears instantly, feeling that their lives were in darkness. After a year, the day lilies are all cold. Damn, what to do with Vivi's country? She will definitely die of grief. It's all Luffy's fault. At this moment, the volcano suddenly erupted, billowing lava straight into the sky. Baratie smiled slightly, which was a signal to make an appointment with his old friend. Friends, I'm going to have a fight and I'll be back soon. With that said, giant Baratie threw the meat in his hand into the fire and left with heavy steps. Well done Murkrow. Use Storm to finish it off. Dumb. The dark crow breathed out a whirlwind and blew a python many times larger than itself to death. Boom. As an active volcano in the center of the island erupts lava, it sounds like a duel bell is ringing. Shall we start? Kang, who had just been training Dark Crow, also noticed the shaking of the island. Kang knew the plot here, but couldn't help but be curious. He jumped up to a towering tree with a light body and began to look at the Gundam battle. What looked like a towering tree to Khan was nothing but a lawn beneath the giant. In the eyes of the two giants, this island was just a small garden. Is this a giant? It's so. G big. However, my Susanna should be older than them, right? Kang murmured. At this time, in the small garden, tall giants stood majestically on the left and right sides. They held swords and axes in their hands and approached each other with steady and powerful steps. Clang. In an instant, huge swords and axes collided together, the sound of gold and iron clashing sounded, and the resulting hurricane blew the towering trees to and fro. Are you starting to miss your hometown? Dongli. Faced with Lobroki's provocation, Dongli laughed loudly, so I will defeat you and then return to Elbaf. Ah, ha, the knife is deadly, only the vital part is taken. They are not playing, but they really want to kill each other. Boom, boom, boom. It's obviously an ordinary flat A. Every time the weapons of the two giants collided, it was like the earth was falling apart. Kang's Sharingan contracted. The attacks of these two guys must be domineering, right?